Good morning, dear friend. The day is just beginning. The first rays of sunlight are stretching across the sky, gently painting the horizon in hues of soft gold and quiet blue. The world, for a moment, is still. The chaos has not yet awakened. There is a sacred hush that lingers in the air, as if heaven itself is leaning a little closer. This is the hour when the soul can breathe. It is not just another morning. It is the kind of morning that asks you to pause, to listen, to draw near. Somewhere, someone is lying awake in a quiet room, heart heavy and eyes full of tears. Maybe it is you. Maybe you know what it feels like to be surrounded by people, but still feel alone. Maybe you are carrying something too heavy to name, a grief that lingers like a shadow, a fear that tightens around your chest. You may be wondering how you are going to get through another day. You may have heard words like breakthrough and healing before, but you no longer know if they are meant for you. You have been waiting, praying, maybe even screaming into the silence, hoping that someone is listening. I want you to know this moment matters, not because it is loud or dramatic, but because it is honest, in the quiet H of your soul. Something holy is stirring. Pain does not disqualify you from God's presence. In fact, it often prepares the ground for the deepest kind of encounter. Sometimes, all it takes is a whisper of surrender, a single breath of openness, and a willingness to believe just one more time that God is near. This is not a path of perfection. It is not about having all the answers or saying all the right words. It is about bringing your whole heart, the broken parts, the confused parts, the exhausted parts, into a space where grace meets you exactly as you are. You do not have to earn a miracle. You do not have to prove your worth. All you need to do is show up with your soul uncovered, your hopes trembling, your fears honest. That is where everything begins. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is stepping forward anyway. It is daring to believe that the one who formed the stars also cares about the details of your life. Prayer is not a performance. It is a conversation, a refuge, a resting place for the weary. It is the language of the Spirit calling out for something more, for someone who can reach deeper than pain and lift higher than hope. And this morning, that invitation is being extended to you. Let this not be just another video, just another moment that passes in the noise of the day. Let this be your turning point, a holy interruption, a sacred invitation to commune with the one who knows you completely and still loves you endlessly. You are not here by accident. You are here because something deep within you longs to rise again. And you are not alone. So, dear friend, wherever you are right now, whether in your kitchen, your car, your room, or just lying still before the world wakes, let your heart awaken too. This is your time to speak, to listen, to be renewed. Open your spirit. Let go of the walls. Step into the silence with expectation. For there is a voice that longs to meet you here. And this is your moment to begin the conversation. Dear Heavenly Father, I wake before the world does, not because I am strong, but because I am desperate. I come to you while it is still dark, while silence still covers the streets. While the birds have not yet begun to sing, my eyes are tired, my heart heavier than I know how to carry. I bring no grand words today, no polished prayers. I only bring myself, raw and worn, quietly aching. I do not know what I expected when I opened my eyes this morning. But I knew I had to come here, to you, in this hour where everything else fades away. This place before dawn, it feels like the only place where I can still breathe. And even that breath is shaky, but it is real. I feel lost, like I am wandering in a wilderness I never asked for. Everything around me looks the same, but nothing feels steady inside. I keep reaching for something. For anything that will tell me I am not forgotten. I try to act like I am okay, like I have it all together. But you see through that, you always have. And right now, I do not want to pretend. I am not okay. I am not fine. I am not strong today. And I need you to know that. I need you to meet me in that. I need you to hold me together where I am falling apart, in quiet places no one else can see. Sometimes I wonder if you hear me at all, if my voice gets lost in the space between heaven and earth, if my prayers fall short, if my words matter. But I keep coming, not because I understand everything, but because there is still a thread in me that believes you are there, that believes you are good, that believes you can do something with the mess I am carrying. So here I am, showing up with my trembling yes, my tired hands, my silent tears. I do not have a map for where I am going. I do not even know how to pray the right way. But I trust that you hear the heart more than you hear the form. I am surrounded by so many things that are uncertain. The future feels like fog. My thoughts run wild. My chest tightens with fear. I smile in front of others, but inside I feel like I am breaking in slow motion, and I do not even know how to fix it. I do not want to run from this pain anymore. I do not want to numb it. I want to bring it to you, all of it. The anger, the fear, the sadness, the memories I push away, the questions I am too afraid to ask. I want to stop hiding in the shadows and bring the H into the light of your presence. Because if you are really who you say you are, then I believe even this darkness is not too much for you. So I ask you now, in the stillness of this sacred hour, to simply be near. I do not need all the answers. I do not need everything to change in a moment, but I need to know I am not alone, that you are not far off, that even here, even now, you are sitting with me in this wilderness, that your love is not put off by my doubts or my despair, that you are still the same God who walks into deserts and stays, who sees the lost and moves closer, who calls broken hearts by name and never looks away. There are parts of me that feel too tired to hope, and yet something in me longs for more. Not more things, but more of you. I am not asking for a life without struggle. I am asking for a heart that can hold steady even when the winds blow hard. I am asking for peace where panic has lived, for light where shadows have ruled, for strength not to escape the valley, but to walk through it knowing you are beside me. Because if you are here, then even this broken ground can become holy. I have tried so many ways to fix myself, to patch the holes, to carry on. But I am learning that what I need most is not a solution. I need a savior, not a quick fix, but a steady hand. Not just motivation, but mercy. I need the kind of healing that does not just touch the surface, but reaches deep into the places I never speak about. I need the kind of love that does not leave when I fall apart again. And I believe that love is you. I do not know what today will bring. I do not know if the breakthrough I long for will come. But I do know this. I trust that you see me, that you know every detail of what I am walking through, that you are not waiting for me to get it all right before you meet me here. You are already here. You were here before I whispered a word. You have always been the God who finds us in the wilderness, who hears even the sighs we do not say out loud. So I won't hide. I won't pretend. I bring my whole heart, fragile and uncertain as it is, and I place it in your hands. If all I do this morning is sit here and breathe in your presence, then let it be enough. Let this be the place where the shift begins, where the light starts to crack through, where I stop striving and start trusting, where I remember that I am not abandoned, not invisible, not beyond your reach. I may be in the wilderness, but I am not without hope, because you are the God who walks into wild places and calls them home. You are the God who turns morning into morning, and I am here, waiting for the light to rise again. Lord, I stayed in this quiet place because something inside me still longs to be heard. The stillness presses in, and though it feels heavy, I sense that you are near. I did not come for comfort only. I came because my soul cannot carry this weight in silence anymore. I can no longer hold it all in. I need to pour it out, not polished, not composed, but real. The ache in my chest is not going away, and so I will not hide it. I bring it to you, raw and unfiltered. There are moments when my sorrow feels too big for words, when my pain sits like a stone inside me. I try to push it down, try to move past it, but it rises again. It rises in the quiet, in the dark, in the parts of the day when no one sees. I do not always know why I cry, but the tears come anyway, as if my body remembers what my mind has tried to forget. Maybe it is grief I never named. Maybe it is fear I never voiced. Maybe it is just the long stretch of waiting, and the weight of questions with no clear answers. But this morning, I am letting them fall. I will not apologize for my tears. God, you know what I cannot say. You see what I try to keep hidden. You hear the cry behind my silence. So I won't dress it up. I won't pretend. This pain is real, and it is mine. But I do not want to carry it alone anymore. I am tired of being strong for everyone else. Tired of smiling when I am unraveling inside. Tired of pretending to have faith when all I feel is fear. I am not trying to impress you. I am trying to find you. And I believe you are not afraid of my brokenness. You are not repelled by the depth of my sorrow. So I bring you everything I have buried. Sometimes I feel like I am shouting into an empty sky, like my words are swept away before they ever reach you. I wonder if you really see me here, in this in-between place where nothing has changed yet. I wonder if you hear me crying out when the world keeps spinning like nothing is wrong, but then something in me whispers to stay, to speak, to believe that even in the shadows, you are still listening. So I open my mouth, not with polished prayers, but with a trembling cry, one that says, I need you now more than ever. This cry is not just from today. It is the cry of years, of moments I held together when I should have fallen apart, of nights I stayed awake staring at the ceiling, begging for peace that never came, of memories I carry like old wounds that never fully healed. And now, I let them surface. I let them speak. I bring them into the light, because I believe you can hold them. You, who wept beside the tomb. You, who listened when the blind man called out in desperation. You, who never turned away from the hurting. I am not asking for quick fixes. I am not looking for magic. I just want to know that you see me, that you sit with me in this place where my strength ends. I want to be honest in your presence, to let my tears speak where words fall short. I want you to see the child in me that is still scared, still unsure, still hoping someone will come close and not walk away. I want to know that I am not too much, that my sadness does not make me weak, that my questions do not disqualify me from your grace. I cry not because I lack faith, but because faith has brought me to this place, the place where I can be fully known, fully human. I cry because I still believe you are good, even when life is not, because I trust that you hold my tears like treasures, because I know that pain has a place in your presence. It is not cast out or dismissed. It is gathered, honored, and redeemed. You do not require me to have it all together. You only ask me to come. So I come now, weeping and worn. I come not with answers, but with honesty, not with perfect posture, but with trembling hands. I let the tears fall, not as a sign of defeat, but as an offering, a confession, a release, because the weight is too much for me. And I believe you are strong enough to carry it, strong enough to hold what breaks me, gentle enough to sit with me through the night, patient enough to listen when the only language I have is weeping. This cry, Father, is sacred, not because it is poetic, but because it is true. It rises from the deepest place in me, the place that longs for home, for healing, for hope. And I know you do not turn away from this place. You enter it. You dwell in it. You transform it. So I will not silence my soul. I will let it speak. I will let it groan. I will let it reach for you in the only way it knows how. Because even in my sorrow, I am not forsaken. Even in my pain, I am still seen. And in this early hour, before the light has fully arrived, I offer what I have, this cry, this breath, this longing, and I place it in your hands, trusting that you are near, and that somehow, in ways I cannot yet see, you are already answering. God, even as the tears begin to dry on my face, I feel something quietly stirring beneath the sorrow. It is not loud or sure. It is barely a whisper, but it is there. After all the crying, after the pouring out of everything I have held inside, something small and sacred remains, like a tiny ember still glowing at the bottom of burned-out ash. I almost missed it. I almost let it slip by unnoticed. but it caught the edge of my breath, that fragile thing. Barely awake in me is hope. I do not say that lightly. I know what it means to be disappointed. I know how it feels to believe and be let down, to pray with all your might and still watch the storm roll in. But something in me remembers, not because I am trying to force it, but because my spirit won't forget. My soul carries pieces of past moments when you showed up. Maybe not in the way I expected. Maybe not when I wanted. But you were there. You did not abandon me then. And I dare to believe you will not abandon me now. Father, I remember the day when everything felt lost, and still you gave me strength to take one more step. I remember the phone call I did not expect. The provision that came right when I had nothing left. I remember the time peace found me in the middle of chaos, and I could not explain it. I remember the quiet ways you proved that you saw me, that you heard even the prayers I could not form into words. These memories are flickers of hope. They are not loud, but they are real, and I hold them now like candles in the dark. There is power in remembering, not to dwell in the past, but to remind myself that you have been faithful before. And if you have been faithful before, you will be faithful again. You are not a God who forgets. You are not one who turns away. You are not tired of me or impatient with my process. You are steady. You are present. You are the same today as you were on the days when I felt carried. And I cling to that now. I choose to believe it, not because everything is fixed, but because you have not changed. Lord, I need that hope to rise in me again. I need it to push past the weariness, to speak louder than the fear. I do not want to live buried beneath disappointment. I want to live leaning forward, heart open, even if it trembles. Teach me how to hold on to hope without demanding that I understand everything. Help me to trust that even when I can't see what you are doing, you are still at work. Remind me that just because I am waiting, it does not mean you are absent. The night may be long, but the morning always comes. That is what hope tells me, that no matter how dark it feels, light is on its way. It does not erase the night, but it promises that night is not the end. So I hold on. I hold on to the glimmers, to the whispers, to the smallest signs. You are still writing my story. You are not finished with me. This pain is not the final chapter. There is more. There is life after loss, peace after panic, healing after heartbreak. You know, God, sometimes hope is not a shout, it is a quiet refusal to give up. It is the decision to keep going, to keep praying, to keep rising, even if it is just barely. That is what I am doing now. I am rising, not with certainty, but with courage. I am rising with the weight still on my shoulders, but my head turned toward the light. I am choosing to believe that what you have spoken over my life still stands, even if it has taken longer than I imagined. I am choosing to remember that your promises are not dependent on my perfection, but on your character. I may not see the full picture, but I believe you do. You know where this road leads. You know how to redeem every broken part. You know how to bring beauty from ashes. And though I do not feel beautiful in this moment, I trust that your hands are gentle and your plans are good. So I offer you this flicker of hope, It is not much, but it is honest. I ask you to breathe on it, to keep it burning, to let it grow, little by little, until it becomes enough light to guide me through whatever comes next. Even now, as the sky outside slowly brightens, I feel that hope expanding, not with noise, but with depth, like roots sinking quietly into the ground, drawing strength from a place deeper than understanding. I feel that maybe I am not just remembering the past, I am being prepared for something ahead, and that stirs something in me. Not pressure, not fear, but expectation, the kind that says, maybe this valley is not just a place to survive, but a place to grow. Maybe I am not breaking, I am being reshaped. So I will not despise the small beginnings. I will not dismiss the gentle rising of faith. I will honor the flicker of hope, even when it does not roar like fire. Because I know that you can do much with little. You always have. You always will. If you can feed thousands with a few loaves and fishes, surely you can multiply this sliver of hope into something wide enough to hold joy again. I trust you, not because everything feels certain, because you have proven yourself kind. I trust you, not because the road ahead is clear, but because you have walked with me through worse. I trust you, even if I have to do it quietly, even if I have to do it afraid. I will not let go of this thread of hope. I will not stop believing that you still have good things for me. And even if my voice shakes when I say it, I will keep whispering it into the morning. You are still good. You are still here. You are still working. And hope, though small, is still alive in me. Father, if hope is still flickering within me, then let it lead me into this deeper place, the place where I no longer need to hold the reins. I have held so tightly to everything, to the need for answers, to the illusion of control, to the idea that if I just try harder, I can make it all work. But the truth is, my strength is not enough. My plans, my striving, my constant effort to fix, manage, and anticipate have left me worn. And now, I feel you gently inviting me to open my hands, to release what I cannot carry, to trust what I cannot see. Surrender has always sounded like weakness to me, like giving up, like losing. But now I wonder if it is actually the opposite. Maybe surrender is not defeat, but deliverance. Maybe it is not resignation, but relief. Maybe it is the place where I stop pretending to be my own savior and finally let you be God. Because you were never asking me to have it all together. You were asking me to be honest, to let go of the illusion that I can hold everything up, to admit that I need help. And here, in this quiet morning, I do, Lord. I surrender not out of fear, but because I am tired of fighting battles I was never meant to fight alone. I surrender the pressure to be perfect, the constant need to prove my worth, the habit of carrying burdens I was never asked to bear. I surrender the stories I have told myself about who I should be by now, the shame that clings when I fall short, the disappointment that rises when life does not unfold the way I thought it would. I surrender the timelines I created in my mind, the expectations that never came to pass, the fear that if I let go, everything will fall apart. But you are not fragile. You are not like me. You do not panic. You do not grow tired. You do not need me to control the outcome in order to bless the journey. So I surrender my timeline to you. I surrender my need to know when and how. I surrender the weight of what has not yet happened and choose to believe that you are faithful even in the waiting. You are God not just in the fulfillment, but in the process. Not just in the destination, but in the detour. Not just in the answer, but in the asking. Let this surrender be full, not partial, not temporary. Let it flow like a river that has been dammed up too long, breaking past every barrier of pride and fear. Let it rush in and wash away the walls I have built to protect myself. Let it flood every space I have kept hidden. Let it reach the places I have been too afraid to release. And let it be a sacred offering, not a last resort, a choice made in love, not in despair. Because I believe you are trustworthy. I believe your hands are capable of holding what mine cannot. God, I surrender my relationships, the ones that are strained, the ones that feel broken beyond repair, the ones that drain more than they fill. I surrender the fear of being alone. I surrender the need to be understood by everyone. I surrender the hope I have placed in others that was never meant to replace the hope I place in you. I surrender my fears about the future, the fear of failing, the fear of never measuring up, the fear of being seen for who I truly am and being found lacking. I place these fears at your feet, not because they have disappeared, but because they no longer have the right to lead me. I surrender my need for clarity. I surrender the craving for certainty. I surrender the constant scanning for signs that I am on the right path. Teach me to walk even when the road is dim, to trust even when the next step is not clear, to believe that you go before me, even when I cannot feel your footsteps. Let my surrender become a song of trust, quiet and steady, rising above the noise of doubt. I surrender the wounds I have carried far too long, the resentment that lingers in the corners of my heart, the bitterness that whispers when I think of what was lost. I surrender the memories that still sting, the words I cannot forget, the moments that replay without mercy. I bring them all to you, not to pretend they never happened, but to place them in the hands of the only one who can redeem them. I believe you waste nothing, not even pain. So I give it to you now, asking you to transform what has hurt me into something that heals me. This surrender is not a one-time act. It is a posture I must return to again and again. But today, in this sacred stillness, I offer it fully. I release the burdens I have clung to for so long that they almost felt like a part of me. I lay down the roles I have taken on to feel safe or strong or needed. I let go of the idea that surrender is giving up, because with you, surrender is actually stepping into rest, into peace, into trust, into freedom. So here I am, God, arms open, hands unclenched, heart soft. I do not bring solutions. I bring surrender. I do not bring blueprints. I bring belief. And I ask you to meet me here, not with thunder or lightning, but with the quiet reassurance that I am safe in your will. Let this be the place where the shift happens, where I stop running, where I stop hiding, where I stop striving to control what was never mine to hold. And in this stillness, let me find that you have always been here, waiting, ready, steady. What happens next, I do not know, but I trust you do. I release my story into your care. I release my future into your timing. I release myself into your love. And as the morning begins to stir and the light begins to break across the sky, let my soul settle into this surrender. Let it be deep, not forced. Let it be full, not fearful. Let it be the beginning of something beautiful, something holy, something only you can bring to life. Father, now that I have laid it all down, my fears, my striving, my need to control, there is a quiet that begins to settle over me. Not an empty quiet, not the silence of despair, but the gentle hush of peace drawing near. I can feel the weight slowly lifting, like the soft unraveling of tension in my chest. There is no thunder here, no sudden rush of emotion, only a calm that feels like being held. It is here, in this stillness after surrender, that I begin to sense the shelter of your presence surrounding me. I never realized how exhausting it was to carry everything alone, to walk through each day armored in self-preservation, to smile when I was breaking, to speak faith when I secretly wrestled with doubt. But here, wrapped in this quiet moment with you, I feel something different. I feel covered, not because the world outside has changed, but because something inside is being comforted in a way I cannot explain. I feel like a child resting in a place that is safe, not because the storm has stopped, but because I am no longer standing in it alone. God, I picture myself beneath your wings, like the psalmist once described, tucked under the soft, strong shelter of a love that never sleeps. It is not a cage. It is not a hiding place born of fear. It is a refuge built from mercy. It is a sanctuary carved from compassion. In this sacred space, I do not have to perform. I do not have to pretend. I do not have to defend the fragile parts of myself. I can simply breathe and be known. And in this nearness, I remember again that I am not forsaken. You are not a distant God. You are not unmoved by the cries of your children. You are the one who draws close to the lowly, who gathers the brokenhearted, who lingers beside those the world has passed by. I feel you here, not in dramatic ways, but in the quiet comfort that settles into my soul like morning light, seeping through the edges of a darkened room. I feel in the stillness that calms my restless thoughts, in the warmth that gently replaces my anxiety. This is not the absence of trouble. This is the presence of peace. I did not earn this comfort. I did not achieve this moment by being good enough. It is grace pure and undeserved. It is mercy that meets me not when I have climbed to the heights, but when I have fallen to my knees. You knew I would come here, tired and frayed. You knew my heart would need a place to land, and you have prepared this very hour, this very breath, to whisper again that I am held, that you are not far away, that your wings are wide enough for every fear and tender enough for every wound. Let me stay here a while, Lord. Let me linger in this safe place. Let my soul drink deep of this mercy that never runs dry. Let this nearness restore what noise and chaos have stolen. I do not need to rush ahead. I do not need to figure everything out. I just need to be here, beneath your covering, where love guards my heart and grace silences my shame. This is where healing begins, not always with loud declarations, but with quiet reassurance that I am not alone. And even though life may pull me in 100 directions, let me remember this place. Let it be etched into the landscape of my spirit, so that when the winds pick up again, I know where to return. When the pressure mounts and fear tries to rise, remind me that I have a refuge, not just a momentary escape, but a dwelling place, a hiding place not from life, but in you, a place where I can regain perspective, a place where I can be real and still be fully loved. There is something about your presence that steadies me in ways no human words can. It does not erase my pain, but it surrounds it. It does not deny my struggle, but it carries it. And I begin to see that what I need most in this season is not more answers, but more awareness of you, not louder solutions, but a deeper stillness where I can hear the truth again. That I am not forgotten, that I am not too broken, that I am not walking through this by myself. So let my thoughts slow down here, let my heart unclench, let my shoulders rest. I have nothing to prove. I have no one to impress. I am seen, known, and safe beneath the shadow of your wings. Let the wind blow outside if it must, but let this covering stay. Let me rise each morning knowing I am held by hands that never grow weary. Let me walk through each day with the quiet confidence that comes from being covered by love. Father, this moment is more than just silence. It is sacred. It is a pause that fills me with peace instead of panic. A space where I begin to believe again that I can face what is ahead, not because I am brave, but because I am protected. I do not need to rush. I do not need to carry everything. I just need to stay near. I just need to remember that your presence is not a fleeting feeling, but a faithful promise. And in this moment, beneath your wings, I find more than comfort, I find courage. Not the kind that shouts or demands, but the kind that knows where it belongs. The kind that rises not from self, but from shelter. The kind that comes from knowing that whatever I face, I do not face it alone. You are with me. You are for me. You are around me. And that is enough. Let me breathe in this truth until it becomes the rhythm of my soul. Let it carry me into the day, into the unknown, into whatever waits beyond this quiet hour, knowing I do not go alone. I go covered. I go kept. I go in the shadow of mercy, beneath the wings of a faithful God. Father, it is here beneath the safety of your covering that my breath becomes steady again, in this shelter, where the fear quiets and the striving slows. I begin to feel space inside my soul for something I have not let myself feel in a long time. Gratitude. Not loud. Not grand. Not rehearsed. Just a quiet awareness that somehow, despite everything, I am still here. I am still breathing. I am still held. And that, in itself, is a kind of miracle. I look around me. Lord, not with eyes clouded by disappointment, but with a heart slowly learning how to see again. I begin to notice what I missed while I was focused only on what I lacked. The fact that I woke up today. The fact that there is still time to begin again. The small things, the softness of morning light. The rhythm of my breath. The warmth in my hands, these become sacred when seen through the eyes of grace. They remind me that you have never stopped giving, even when I was not ready to receive. There have been so many days when I brushed past the blessings because they did not look like breakthroughs. I was waiting for something big, something undeniable, and in doing so, I missed the small signs that you were near. The friend who checked in at just the right time. The song that brought tears I did not know I needed to cry. The moment of stillness between chaos. The courage to try again, even when I felt too weak to hope. These were not accidents. They were gifts. And now, I choose to remember them. Let this place become a garden of remembrance. Lord, a space within me where gratitude takes root and grows. I want to plant my thanks here, one memory at a time. For the nights you stayed close when I felt abandoned. For the days you carried me when I could not carry myself. For the words you whispered when my thoughts turned against me. For the laughter that somehow found me in the middle of sorrow. For the strength you gave me when I did not even ask for it. I may not have always seen you, but I see you now, and I thank you. I thank you for the people who have loved me even when I did not feel lovable. For the hands that held mine, the voices that spoke life, the hearts that stayed. I thank you for the times I did not get what I asked for, but later saw it was mercy. I thank you for the closed doors that protected me, the detours that shaped me, the delays that refined me. I thank you for the moments of clarity in the middle of confusion, for the quiet conviction that whispered, "Keep going," when I was ready to give up. Even in my pain, there have been blessings. Even in the wilderness, there were flowers growing between the cracks. I did not always notice, but you were faithful. You have always been, and so now, I name these gifts not because I need to impress you, but because I need to remind myself. Gratitude is not about denying the hard things. It is about seeing the holy things that lived quietly beside them. It is about recognizing that even in my lowest moments, your goodness did not leave. Teach me to live with open eyes, Lord, eyes that notice grace in unexpected places, eyes that see provision in places I once called barren. Let my gratitude not depend on circumstance, but on who you are. Let it become a rhythm in me, not a reaction. Let it soften my heart when life feels harsh. Let it rise in the mundane, in the ordinary, in the quiet corners where miracles are easy to miss. Let it be the anchor that holds me steady when I cannot make sense of the journey. This gratitude is not always loud. It does not always come with celebration. Sometimes it comes with tears, with trembling hands, with a quiet nod that says, "I see it now," and that is enough. Let it come as it is. Let it grow as it will. I am not trying to force joy, Lord. I am learning to receive it, to recognize that sometimes joy looks like peace after a storm. Sometimes it looks like breath after panic. Sometimes it is simply the strength to stand in the middle of uncertainty and say, "Thank you anyway. I am grateful for the chance to start again, for the mercy that meets me each morning, new and undiminished. I am grateful for your patience with me, how you never rushed me, never shamed me for not getting it right the first time. I am grateful for your gentleness, the way you draw near without demand. I am grateful that you never measured me by my mistakes, that you always saw beyond what I got wrong and kept calling me forward. Thank you for not giving up on me." And now, as I sit in this moment of stillness, I choose to build an altar in my heart, not of stone, but of remembrance. I place every grateful thought here, every redeemed memory, every glimpse of goodness that carried me through. Let this be the place I return to when I forget. Let it remind me that no matter how far I feel from the promise, I have not been forsaken, that no matter what lies ahead, gratitude will go with me. So I rest here, in this garden, beneath your gaze. I let thankfulness take root in my spirit. I let it shape my perspective. I let it soften the ground of my soul, because I know that when gratitude grows, it changes how I see everything. It lifts my eyes. It opens my heart. It reminds me that the same God who was faithful before is faithful still. And because of that, I can take the next step. I can rise with hope, not because life is perfect, because your presence is enough. And that, more than anything, is something worth remembering. Father, as I linger in the quiet space of gratitude, my soul begins to open more deeply. The light you have shed on the beauty around me has now started to shine into the places within me that I have tried to keep hidden. It is gentle, not intrusive, but it reaches deep, and as it reaches, it reveals, not to shame me, not to condemn me, but to cleanse me. Because even in the garden of thankfulness, there are still parts of me that carry stains I have not known how to release. Parts covered in guilt, in regret, in the weight of mistakes I cannot undo. And now, here in your presence, I can finally stop pretending I do not see them. Lord, I have tried to ignore my faults. I have tried to push past them with business or bury them under the good I have done, but they stay. The memories, the choices, the moments I wish I could go back and rewrite, they remain like whispers in the background, and I am tired of pretending they do not speak. I want to face them now, not because I think they define me, but because I believe you can transform them. I believe your mercy does not run out when I reach my limits. I believe you do not turn away from dirt, you wash it clean. So here it is, the broken, imperfect, flawed truth of who I have been. The things I have said that I can take back. The times I have chosen pride over love. The moments I have walked away from what I knew was right. The bitterness I have allowed to linger. The envy I have fed in secret. The silent judgments I have made while wearing a kind face. You see it all. Every unspoken apology. Every buried failure. And still, you draw near. Still, you love. Still, you invite me into your presence, as if nothing I carry could push you away. I do not want to carry the weight of shame anymore. I do not want to wear it like a second skin. I do not want it to whisper lies into my identity or wrap itself around my worth. I do not want to filter my relationship with you through the lens of what I have done wrong. I want to be free. I want to be clean, not just forgiven in theory, but restored in spirit, not just tolerated, but embraced. I want to believe, really believe, that your grace is not just enough, it is personal, that it reaches for me as I am, not as I think I should be. Wash me, God, not because I am trying to earn purity, but because I trust you are the one who gives it freely. Cleanse me not only from what I have done, but from the ways I have come to believe that I am unworthy, unlovable, unredeemable. Break the power of those inner accusations. Silence the voices that tell me I will never be more than my worst moment. Let your truth be louder. Let it echo through every shadowed part of me, saying, you are mine, you are clean, you are enough. You are the God who knelt in the dirt to lift the broken, who welcomed the outcasts, who forgave the ones others threw stones at. You did not run from the mess, you stepped into it with compassion. You did not wait for perfection, you offered restoration. And that same mercy is what I ask for now. Not to escape accountability, but to be transformed by love. Because love is what changes me. Not fear. Not guilt. Not punishment. Love. Let your forgiveness reach the places I did not think could be healed. The parts of my past I have locked away. The relationships I have broken and never thought could be mended. The words I have spoken over myself that never should have taken root. Let your mercy cleanse my memory, not to erase it, but to redeem it. Let it rewrite the story I have told myself about who I am. Let it realign my heart with who you say I have always been beneath the scars. Teach me how to forgive myself. Teach me how to stop punishing my own soul for things you have already covered. Teach me how to walk in the freedom of one who has truly been made new. Let me wear grace like a garment, not as a disguise, but as a testimony, not to impress, but to live from. Because your forgiveness is not fragile. It does not crack under pressure. It does not depend on how well I behave after. It stands firm and final, because you said it is finished. I receive that truth now, not because I feel worthy, but because you said I am. I receive it like a child who has nothing to offer but open hands. I receive it not as permission to remain unchanged, but as power to begin again, to live differently, to love better, to rise without the weight of guilt holding me back, to stand not in fear of falling, but in the confidence of being held. I am not who I used to be, and I do not have to be perfect to be made new. You are not looking for perfection. You are looking for surrender, for honesty, for hearts that turn back to you and trust that you, not only able, but willing to restore what was broken. That is what I bring today, not my performance, but my need, and my belief that your grace is enough to meet it. So let this moment be sacred. Let it be a turning point. Let it be the place where shame begins to lose its grip and worthiness begins to rise. Not a worthiness I have earned, but one you have given. Let this be the morning I remember for the rest of my life, not because everything changed around me, but because something changed within me. I stopped hiding. I stopped blaming. I stopped running. And I let you love me right in the middle of my need. And now, as I breathe in this grace, I breathe out the weight I have carried. I release the guilt, the hiding, the trying too hard. I open my hands to receive what I cannot create for myself, wholeness. Let it flood me. Let it become the ground I walk on today. Let me see myself the way you see me, washed, chosen, wanted, new, and let me live from that truth, with courage in my step and peace in my heart, no longer chasing worth, but resting in it, God, as I begin to walk in the truth that I am washed and worthy. Something deep within me stirs, not only a sense of peace, but a quiet boldness rising from beneath the layers of guilt and silence. It feels like standing taller in my spirit, like something that once held me down is slowly losing its grip. I realize now that I have lived much of my life chained to things that were never mine to carry. And now that I am clean, I cannot ignore the weight of what still clings to me. Not because it belongs, but because it became familiar. Father, I bring you the chains that I have accepted as normal. The ones I never questioned, because they have been with me so long. The shame that did not leave even after forgiveness came. The fear that still whispers I am not enough, even when truth has been spoken over me. The voices from the past that told me I was too much, too broken, too small. The habits I built to survive, but which now keep me bound. These are not just memories. They are prisons, and I am ready to name them now, not with fear, but with courage born of freedom. I break agreement with the lies I have lived under, the belief that I have to earn love, that I am destined to repeat the mistakes of those before me, that because I have failed, I will always be a failure, that my worth is measured by my performance, or by how others see me. I let go of the pressure to carry pain in silence, to stay small so others feel safe, to shrink my voice in the name of humility. I let go of the belief that healing is for others, but not for me. I reject the narrative that says I will never be whole, that my past disqualifies me, that freedom is a distant dream. These chains may have shaped how I have walked, but they do not define where I am going. And now, God, I ask you to break what I cannot. I have tried. I have made promises to do better, to be stronger, to overcome by willpower. But now I see freedom does not come through effort alone. It comes through surrender and truth. So I stand before you, not asking for help to hide my chains, but for strength to destroy them. Let every link forged by fear be shattered. Let every binding thought lose its power in the light of who you are. Break the generational patterns that have followed me. Silently, the cycles of self-doubt, the unspoken rules about who I am allowed to be, the cultural chains that kept me quiet. Let this be where they end with me, not my might, but by your spirit. I do not want to pass down pain that you are ready to heal. I do not want to normalize what you came to redeem. Let the old patterns fall so new paths can rise. Let the legacy I leave be one marked by freedom, not fear. I bring you the soul ties I have never dared to acknowledge, the connections forged in pain, in desperation, in longing that led me away from myself. I cut off the cords that still pull me back to places you have called me out of. I renounce the agreements I made in moments of brokenness. I ask you to sever the invisible threads that tied my heart to relationships or identities that never reflected your design. I ask for wholeness in the places where I have been divided, for clarity where confusion once ruled. Let me walk away from what you never intended for me to carry, not in bitterness, but in release. God, I also ask you to free my mind from the loops of anxiety, from the voices of shame, from the thoughts that spiral and refuse to rest. I ask you to silence the torment that comes in the quiet hours, the dread that wakes me before the sun. I bring you the inner critic that never stops speaking, the one who tells me I am never doing enough. I place it at your feet, and I ask you to teach me a new rhythm, a rhythm of grace, of rest, of thoughts that agree with heaven instead of fear. Let the noise be replaced with truth. Let the torment be replaced with peace. There are chains I have worn in secret, Father, the ones I never speak of because I thought they disqualified me from love. The chains of addiction, of patterns I do not want but can't seem to break, of shame that wraps itself around desire and weakness. But you know them already. You have seen them. And still, you call me yours. So I bring them into the light, not to be judged, but to be healed, not to hide in shame, but to finally find freedom. Because chains lose their power when they are exposed to truth. You are the God who sets captives free, who breaks open prison doors, who speaks life into dead places. So I ask you now, with trembling faith and open hands, do it again. Do it in me. Break every chain that does not belong. Shake loose every hold that fear has claimed. Burn away every lie that clings like smoke. And in its place, let freedom rise, not just the feeling, but the reality. Let it be my new atmosphere. Let it be the air I breathe. Let it be the ground I walk on. Let me feel what it is like to move without bondage, to speak without fear of rejection, to dream without the past mocking me. Let me taste what it means to be unbound, to live wide open, to worship without the weight of guilt. Let me dance again, even if it starts as a slow, awkward sway. Let me remember what it feels like to laugh without restraint, to rest without proving, to love without conditions. This is not too much to ask, not because I deserve it, but because you delight in giving freedom to those who ask. So today, I rise not only washed, but unchained, not only forgiven, but free, not only released, but realigned. Let every part of me that has lived under the weight of false labels, false expectations, false fears be renewed in your truth. Let me walk into this day with the posture of someone who knows they are no longer held back. Let my voice carry the sound of someone who has been loosed from lies. Let my spirit echo the anthem of deliverance. This is not a wish. This is a declaration. I will not return to what once bound me. I will not live as though I am still captive. I will not apologize for being free. I will not shrink to fit chains you have already broken. I will move forward as one who belongs to the light, unshackled, unashamed, unafraid, because where your spirit is, there is freedom, and I am learning to breathe it in with every step I take. Lord, now that the chains have been broken and the weight I carried has fallen away, there is space inside me that I almost do not recognize. For so long, that space was filled with fear and guilt, with voices that did not belong to you. Now, it feels like an open field, waiting to be lit with something new, and as I stand in this freedom, no longer bound by the past, I begin to feel a warmth stirring from deep within, a spark that I know only you can ignite. It is not loud or overwhelming. It is not the kind of fire that consumes everything at once. It is a steady glow, quiet but sure, rising from the ashes of what I have released. Father, I sense that you are doing something deeper now. Not just removing what never belonged, but awakening what has always been mine. A fire that has waited beneath the surface. A passion for your presence. A desire to live not in survival, but in fullness. To burn with purpose. To be more than just healed, to be alive. God, let that fire grow. Let it spread through every corner of me that has grown cold from disappointment or silence. Breathe into the embers I tried to protect, the parts of me that once burned bright but were dimmed by fear, rejection, or weariness. I am not afraid of the flame anymore. I do not want to live a safe life if it means I never fully burn for what matters. I want to be set ablaze with you, not for show, but for substance, not for noise, but for depth. I want to carry a passion that cannot be manufactured and cannot be stolen. Let it begin in my heart, Lord. Let it consume the apathy I have allowed to linger, the numbness I accepted as normal, the silence I mistook for peace when it was really fear. Stir a fire that drives me to know you more, to love you more, to want nothing more than to walk in step with your spirit. Let it be a holy longing that pulls me closer even when I do not have the words. Let it be a hunger that cannot be satisfied by anything the world offers. I do not want to settle for a distant faith. I do not want to go through motions that never move me. I do not want to speak words I do not mean or sing songs I no longer feel. Let my devotion come alive again. Let it burn in the way I speak, in the way I see others, in the way I choose to live each day. Let this fire refine me, but not destroy me. Let it purify, not punish. Let it bring clarity where confusion once ruled. Let it show me what really matters and what was never worth holding on to. There have been times when I thought the fire had died completely, when prayer felt hollow, when worship felt distant, when I showed up in body but not in spirit. I did not know how to find my way back. But here in this place, with everything laid bare, I realized the fire never left. It was hidden, yes, covered by burdens, smothered by shame, but not extinguished, because you never let go. And now, you are stirring it back to life, not with pressure, but with presence, not with fear, but with love. Let me burn for justice, not just comfort. Let me burn for truth, not just acceptance. Let me burn with compassion that reaches the unseen and the hurting. Let this fire not stay hidden inside. Let it become light to those around me, Let it guide. Not glare, let it warm. Not scorch. Make my life a living flame that draws people toward you, not because I am perfect, but because I carry something real. Something holy. Something that speaks louder than words ever could. God, I ask you to fan into flame every gift you have placed inside me. The ones I have neglected, the ones I have doubted, the ones I thought were too small to matter. Remind me that nothing you plant is wasted, that even a spark, when surrendered to you, can become something world-changing. Awaken my creativity, my voice, my courage. Awaken my calling not as a burden, but as a joy. Remind me that passion is not a feeling I chase, but a fire I protect, a fire I feed with time in your presence, with truth from your word, with obedience even when it is quiet. Let my life be marked by holy fire, not the kind that burns out in a flash, but the kind that lasts through storms, the kind that stays even when everything else fades, the kind that gets brighter in the darkness, the kind that does not depend on emotion, but on endurance. Let me become someone who burns brighter with time, not because of effort, but because I have stayed close to the flame, because I have stayed close to you. This fire, Lord, it is not mine to control. It is yours to shape. So I surrender to what you want to do with it. Let it light my path when I feel lost. Let it soften my words when I am tempted to speak in anger. Let it fill my silence with strength. Let it guide my decisions when I do not know which way to go. Let it be the warmth I carry into every room, the courage I hold when fear tries to creep in again, and when the world tries to blow it out through distraction. Through disappointment, through delay, remind me that the fire you start cannot be stolen. It cannot be drowned by circumstances. It cannot be shaken by critics. It is protected by your presence, sustained by your spirit, fueled by your promises. And because of that, I will keep burning, even when it is quiet, even when no one sees, even when I feel tired. I will keep burning because you are worth it, because your love is still the spark, and because the fire within is now stronger than anything that comes against me. Father, now that the fire within has been stirred, I find myself seeing things differently. Not because everything around me has changed, but because something inside me has shifted. Where I once felt numb, I now feel aware. Where I once looked through lenses clouded by fear and fatigue, I now see with fresh clarity. It is not dramatic, but it is undeniable. I am beginning to notice what I overlooked for far too long. And it feels like vision, not just physical sight, but the kind of inner knowing that comes only from you. Lord, I ask you now to give me eyes that see again, eyes that recognize truth in a world saturated with noise, eyes that look beyond appearances and into the depth of things, eyes that perceive your movement even when it is subtle. I do not want to live blindly, just reacting, just rushing, just going through the motions. I want to see what matters. I want to notice what you are doing. I want to walk with spiritual awareness, not dulled by distraction or drowned in worry. There have been seasons when everything felt blurry, and I could not make sense of where I was or where I was going. In those times, I assumed you were silent, distant, unmoved. But now I realize it was not always you who stopped speaking. It was me who stopped seeing. I let disappointment fog my vision. I let business pull my gaze in 100 directions. I let fear close my eyes to possibility. But now that you have awakened something in me, I do not want to live with eyes half shut anymore. God, open the eyes of my heart. Help me to see you not just in sacred spaces, but in the ordinary ones, in the quiet acts of kindness, in the stillness of mourning, in the complexity of others, in the mirror. Let my eyes become tuned to grace, alert to beauty, aware of the divine fingerprints you have left all around. Let me notice the things that are easy to miss, the way someone's eyes light up when they are finally heard, the way peace settles in when I pause long enough to breathe, the way your faithfulness keeps unfolding in small, consistent ways. Help me see people through your eyes, not as interruptions, not as problems to solve or threats to fear, but as souls deeply loved by you. Help me look past masks and defenses and see the stories underneath, the pain behind the anger, the longing beneath the pride, the brokenness that mirrors my own. Let compassion flood my vision. Let empathy soften how I interpret what I do not understand. I do not want to just see surface level. I want to see with love. And Lord, help me see myself clearly too, not through the lens of insecurity or the filter of past failures, but through the truth of who you say I am. When I look in the mirror, help me to recognize the image of someone you call chosen, forgiven, equipped, and enough. Not perfect, but in process. Not forgotten, but formed. Let me stop agreeing with distorted views that keep me small. Let me recognize when I am believing lies disguised as truth. Let my inner sight align with your voice, and not with the voices that have tried to define me through shame. There is something powerful about clarity, and I ask you to sharpen mine. Show me what is real, what is worth holding on to, what needs to be released. Illuminate the path you have placed before me. I may not see the full road, but even just the next step would be enough. I do not ask for full control, only alignment. Only discernment. Only the ability to say yes when you are moving, and know when the path is no longer mine to walk. Give me discernment in my decisions, Lord. Teach me how to pause when I am unsure, how to wait without anxiety, how to recognize your peace as the compass that leads me forward. When I face choices, let my vision not be clouded by fear of failure or fear of man. Let it be informed by truth and guided by wisdom. I do not need every detail to be certain. I just need to know that I am walking with you, that I am not leaning on my own understanding, but trusting in your direction. I also ask for vision that sees the long game, not just the moment I am in, but the purpose beneath it. Help me look beyond immediate discomfort and recognize the deeper work you are doing. Help me remember that growth often comes in quiet places, that preparation does not always look like progress, that sometimes delay is protection, and pruning is not punishment. Let me trust what you see, even when I do not understand what you are allowing. God, let my eyes stay fixed on you, not on comparison, not on culture, not on chasing what looks impressive but leads nowhere. Help me resist the urge to look side to side when you have called me to look up, to live focused, not frantic, rooted, not restless. Let me lift my eyes from the dust of discouragement and focus them on the hills where my help comes from. Let me see you in the sunrise and in the struggle, in the breakthrough and in the silence. And when the world feels overwhelming, when the future feels uncertain, remind me to refocus, to realign, to recalibrate my vision with what is eternal, not just what is urgent. I want to see beyond circumstance, beyond pressure, beyond fear. I want to see purpose in the middle of the storm. I want to see how you are shaping me, not just rescuing me. How you are developing endurance, not just solving problems. Give me the vision that sees through storms, not around them. So here I am, Lord, eyes open and heart ready. I want to live this day with intention, to see what you are showing, to notice what you are revealing, to respond with love. Let every glance be filtered through faith. Let every moment be viewed through the lens of trust. Because when I see with you, I do not see scarcity, I see grace. I do not see hopelessness, I see opportunity. I do not see obstacles, I see invitations. Open my eyes until they see like yours. Let me never stop looking for wonder, for purpose, for you. Father, now that my eyes have been opened and my vision realigned with your truth, I feel the longing not just to see clearly, but to stand securely. I have seen glimpses of what is possible when I walk in step with you, and now I ask for something deeper. I do not want to live only with clarity. I want to live with stability. I want to be grounded, not just inspired. I want to be rooted in something that cannot be shaken. Because the winds will come, the pressure will rise, life will bend and stretch and shake the foundation of everything I build. And when that happens, I want my soul to be anchored in something stronger than my emotions. God, root me in you, not in temporary feelings or fleeting motivation, but in the unchanging reality of who you are. Let your truth go deep into the soil of my soul, far beneath the surface, where no one else can see, but where everything else depends. I want to live from that place, a place of quiet strength, of steady peace, of unwavering trust. I want to know that no matter what comes, I am planted in something eternal. There have been times when I mistook movement for growth, when I believed that being busy meant I was becoming stronger. But now I see that real growth happens beneath the surface, in the quiet, in the hidden, in the waiting, in the moments when no one is watching. That is where roots are formed. That is where faith becomes more than a feeling. So I embrace that process, even when it feels slow, even when it feels unseen, because I know that what grows deep will endure. Lord, let my identity be planted in you, not in what I do, not in who approves of me, not in how successful or strong I appear to be. Let it be rooted in your voice alone, the voice that called me beloved before I ever performed, the voice that named me worthy before I ever earned anything. Let that be the soil where I draw strength, not the soil of applause, not the soil of ambition, not the soil of comparison, but the soil of your steady, faithful presence. I know now that storms are not the enemy of growth. They reveal where I have been rooted, and I want to be the kind of person who does not fall apart when the winds rise. Not because I am strong on my own, but because I am established in something immovable. I want my faith to hold, not just in sunlight, but in shadow. I want my hope to stretch deep, not just wide. I want the truth you have spoken over me to become more than just words. I want it to be the foundation under my feet. So teach me how to dig deep, God. Teach me how to stay when it would be easier to run. Teach me how to lean in when everything in me wants to withdraw. Teach me how to build rhythms that nourish my soul, not just feed my pride. Help me to return daily to your word, to soak in it like water, to let it form me from the inside out. Help me to pray not only when I need answers, but because I need you. Let my roots go deeper each time I sit with you, each time I listen, each time I wait. I do not want a shallow faith that looks strong on the surface, but falls apart under pressure. I want a faith that holds when life does not make sense. I want to be like a tree planted by water, whose leaves do not wither in drought, whose fruit does not fail in harsh seasons. I want to be consistent, not perfect, but steady, not impressive, but faithful. And I know that kind of life does not come from striving. It comes from remaining. God, help me remain. Help me remain when the days feel ordinary and uninspired. Help me remain when answers do not come quickly. Help me remain when others seem to move ahead while I wait. Let my loyalty be rooted in love, not in outcome. Let my foundation be your faithfulness, not my circumstances. Let me remain in you, not just visit, not just glance, but dwell, stay, live, and let the fruit of that remaining show, not just in the moments when I feel strong, but in the choices I make when I feel weak. Let it show in the way I respond when I am wronged, in the way I extend grace when I could choose revenge, in the way I speak peace when anxiety wants to lead. Let the depth of my roots shape the way I love, the way I serve, the way I stay kind even when the world grows harsh. This kind of rooted life may not look flashy. It may not draw crowds or get attention, but it lasts. It weathers storms. It becomes shade for others. It becomes a place of stability in a world that is always shifting. And that is the life I want. Not a life that is always praised, but a life that is deeply planted. A life that is faithful in private. A life that is anchored in love, not fear. In truth, not trend. In grace, not performance. So I say yes to the slow work of growth. I say yes to the process of deepening. I say yes to the discomfort of pruning, if it means I will grow stronger. I say yes to being still when the world demands constant motion, because I want to be rooted in you, not blown about by everything else. I want to be built on the rock, not sand. I want to live with depth, not just reach. And I trust that if I remain, if I keep coming back, if I keep drinking from your well, you will do the growing. You will make me strong. Let that strength be quiet. Let it be gentle. Let it be unshakable. And let it begin here, in this still moment, as I choose to put my roots down deeper into the only one who will never change. Let me grow from this place, not for attention, but for endurance, not for appearance, but for fruitfulness, because I know that what is rooted in you cannot be moved, and that is the life I want to live unshaken, unwithered, unafraid, grounded in grace, rooted in the rock, forever held, forever growing. Lord, now that my roots are sinking deeper into the ground of your presence, I feel a new desire rising, not to speak, but to listen. The more grounded I become in you, the more I realize how much I need to hear your voice. Not the noise of my own thoughts, not the chorus of outside opinions, but the quiet truth that only comes from you, the kind of truth that does not just inform but transforms, the kind that settles things deep inside me with just a whisper. Father, I confess that I have often filled the silence with my own voice. I have rushed through prayer with long lists and urgent pleas, afraid that if I stopped speaking, you might go silent. But I see now that some of the most powerful moments in your presence are not when I pour out everything I want to say, but when I simply make space for you to speak, when I wait, when I still my racing thoughts, when I turn my heart toward you, not with demands, but with attention. Teach me how to listen, not just with my ears, but with my spirit. Teach me how to tune out the distractions, how to quiet the urgency, how to step away from the noise long enough to notice what you are saying. I do not want to just hear echoes of the world with your name attached. I want to hear you, the real you, the gentle but firm voice that leads me in love, the steady whisper that calms fear without needing to shout, the voice that always tells the truth, even when it is hard, but always says it in love. God, I know you are not far. I know you speak, not always in the ways I expect, but in the ways I need. Sometimes you speak through stillness itself, a peace that settles in like sunlight on my skin. Sometimes you speak through the nudge that I can't explain, through scripture that suddenly feels alive, through the words of a stranger that pierce straight to the center of what I have been carrying. Help me to recognize you in all of it. Help me to notice the difference between noise and your nudging. I know your voice will never rush me into fear. It will never push me into guilt. It will never confuse or condemn. Your voice is full of grace, full of clarity, full of conviction that draws me closer, not further away. Let that be how I know it is you. Let that be how I stay anchored. And when I am unsure, when I can tell if it is you or my own thoughts, teach me to come back to your word, to measure everything against what you have already said, to find confidence in what you have already made clear. Sometimes I do not hear you because I am afraid of what you might say. I think you will tell me to let go of something I do not want to release, or that you will ask more of me than I feel ready to give. But I forget that you are gentle, that you never lead by shame, never move through fear. You are the shepherd who guides one step at a time. You do not overwhelm me with the entire journey. You meet me here, right where I am, with just enough light for the next moment. And that is all I really need. I do not want to live by instinct alone. I do not want to react to life blindly, without checking in with you first. I want to be guided, not driven, rooted, not restless. So make my heart sensitive to the small things. Help me notice when I am being led by pressure instead of peace, when I am chasing comfort instead of calling, when I am saying yes to things you never asked of me. Whisper your wisdom into my spirit, Lord, and help me choose what aligns with your heart even when it costs me, even when it slows me down, even when no one else understands. Let my life become a space where your voice is welcome, not just in moments of crisis, but in the quiet of ordinary days, in the way I speak to others, in the way I respond to conflict, in the way I make decisions, not out of fear, but out of fellowship with you. Let me become someone who moves not just with confidence, but with clarity, not just with passion, but with discernment. Because what matters most is not doing more, it is doing what you have asked, and doing it with you. Help me slow down enough to recognize when you are speaking. And if I do not hear anything right away, help me not to panic. Help me rest in the truth that you are still near, that silence is not absence, that delay is not disinterest, that sometimes you are teaching me to trust even when the answer has not come. Help me treasure the waiting as much as the words, because even the silence is sacred when I am sitting with you. You do not need to shout to get my attention. Sometimes the whisper is enough, and I want to live so closely with you that I do not miss it. That even in the middle of my day, when everything around me is moving fast, I can still hear the whisper that brings me back to center. That reminds me who I am. That reminds me where you are. That speaks calm into chaos and direction into confusion. Make me so familiar with your voice that no counterfeit can lead me astray. God, if you are still whispering, I am still listening. Let my time with you shape the way I hear everything else. Let it make me wise without becoming cynical. Let it make me tender without losing strength. Let it make me bold in the places you send me, and humble in the places you ask me to wait. Speak into every layer of who I am, not just into my calling, but into my character, into my thoughts, into my patterns, into the parts of me that no one else sees but you. Even now, in this quiet moment, I lean in, not with fear, but with faith, not with anxiety, but with trust. I believe you are here, and I believe you are speaking. So I make space for you. I quiet the noise. I lay down the pressure to perform. And I wait not as one who fears silence, but as one who treasures presence. As one who knows the whisper of God carries more power than the loudest storm. As one who longs to be guided not by the shifting winds of the world, but by the steady breath of heaven. This stillness is not empty. It is filled with you. This waiting is not wasted. It is growing something sacred in me. So let me hear what I could not hear when I was rushing. Let me receive what I could not carry when I was too full of my own plans. Let me respond, not with resistance, but with surrender, because your whisper is enough. Your voice is enough. And I am learning that stillness is not silence, it is invitation. It is where you draw me close, and where I finally learn to listen. Father, As I remain still in your presence, the hush of the morning has not faded, but has instead deepened into something sacred. It no longer feels like waiting, it feels like trusting. Like resting in a truth I can't always explain, but somehow know is real. The longer I linger with you, the more I see that your presence is not something I chase or strive for. It is already here, always has been. The shift is not that you draw nearer, it is that I finally slow down enough to notice. And now, as I sit in this gentle awareness of you, I feel you guiding me not just to listen, but to believe, to trust what I cannot see, to rest in what has not yet come. I realize how much of my anxiety has been rooted in trying to control outcomes that were never mine to manage. I confess the moments I have trusted more in what I can predict than in your promises. I have looked for signs when what you asked for was faith. I have wanted maps when what you offered was your hand. But still, you are patient. Still, you invite me back not to understand everything, but to trust you in the middle of the unknown. Lord, you know how my heart craves clarity. You know the parts of me that struggle when I can see the full picture. But you also know how clarity can become a crutch, how certainty can replace surrender. You ask me to walk by faith, not by sight, because you know that trust grows in the dark, that faith flourishes not when the answers are obvious, but when my steps are uncertain and I keep walking anyway. And so here I am, not with all the answers, but with open hands and a quiet yes. I do not want a faith that only works when life makes sense. I want a faith that holds steady when the fog rolls in and the path disappears. I want to believe not just that you exist, but that you are good, even when goodness feels far away. I want to believe not just that you can, but that you will in your timing, in your wisdom, in your way. Help me to anchor myself not to outcomes, but to your character, because you have never changed. Not once. You are the same in the silence as you are in the breakthrough. When I cannot see the way, let me lean harder into you, not into fear, not into doubt, but into your presence that goes before me, surrounds me, and never leaves me. Help me to trust that I am not walking alone, even when the road ahead feels empty. You have already walked it. You know every turn. You see what I cannot, and that is enough. Let my faith be shaped not by what I feel, but by who you are. There are things I have been holding too tightly, dreams, expectations, fears disguised as plans. Gently, you invite me to loosen my grip, to hand them over, not because they do not matter, but because I was never meant to carry them alone. You remind me that surrender is not loss, it is freedom. It is the doorway to peace. And so I breathe deeply and begin the process of laying it down again and again, if that is what it takes until my heart finally learns to rest. God, I do not want to miss what you are doing just because it does not look like what I imagined. I do not want to resist the answers you are giving because they come wrapped in silence, or in waiting, or in doors I did not expect to walk through. Help me to stay soft in the process, to remain teachable, to trust that you are not withholding what is good for me, even when you are asking me to wait. Strengthen my heart in the in-between. Fortify my spirit when the journey stretches long. Let me be found faithful here in the unseen, in the slow, in the sacred ordinary. And if I must walk through places that feel uncertain, let it be with my eyes fixed not on the horizon, but on you. Let me walk like one who knows she is held, like one who remembers that even when the light is dim, your hand is not far, that even when the answers are delayed, your goodness is not in question, that even when the future is unclear, my identity in you is already secure. Let me carry that truth with me like a shield. I do not need to know everything that is ahead. I just need to know that you are there. That is the promise that carries me. That is the reason I keep showing up. Because even when nothing around me changes, something within me is being made new. And that kind of growth, that quiet transformation, is worth more than all the answers I thought I needed. Thank you for being the kind of God who does not shame me in my doubt, but meets me in it. Who does not demand perfection, but invites honesty. Who takes my trembling hands and fills them with strength I did not know I had. Let that be what shapes my trust, not a blind leap, but a deeper knowing, a quiet resolve to follow even when I do not fully understand. There is something sacred about not knowing. Something holy about needing you moment by moment. It keeps me close. It keeps me humble. And in that place, I find something better than answers. I find you. I find your presence not as a distant echo, but as a steady voice, reminding me that faith is not about certainty, but about connection. That trust is not the absence of fear, but the courage to move forward anyway, hand in hand with the one who cannot fail. So I choose to walk forward into this day, not because I know what will happen, but because I know who walks with me. Not because the path is clear, but because your promises are sure. I do not need to see the finish line. I only need to take the next step, and then the next, until my life becomes a quiet testimony of trust in the unseen, trust in the waiting, trust in the goodness of a God who never lets go. Father, as the stillness continues to stretch into the quiet corners of this morning, I remain open in this space you have carved out for me. The surrender I offered before does not disappear. With a single whisper, it deepens with every breath, every pause, every decision to lean in rather than pull away. And so I come again, not just to declare my trust, but to bring you what feels most fragile. My vulnerability. You know me, God. You know the places I try to hide even from myself. The fears I dress in strength, the insecurities I mask with productivity, the silent H that sometimes hums beneath my laughter. I bring it all to you now. Not because you are unaware, but because I want to stop pretending. I want to stop carrying pieces of myself in secret rooms, while offering you only the polished surface. You never asked me to be unbreakable. You only asked me to be real. I know that nothing about my weakness repels you. Nothing about my trembling heart makes you turn away. If anything, it draws you nearer. Your word speaks of a Savior acquainted with sorrow, familiar with grief, not a distant God, but one who chose to enter into the fullness of human pain, so I would never have to walk through mine alone. That truth is a balm to every cracked and tender part of me. It tells me that I am not too much, not too messy, not too far gone. I am held, as I am, without needing to earn the embrace. And yet, vulnerability still feels risky. It asks me to stand in truth without knowing how others will respond. It invites me to be seen not just for what I do, but for who I am beneath all the layers. That is where it gets hard. But with you, there is no risk. There is only love, perfect love that casts out fear, compassion that does not diminish, mercy that does not run dry. When I sit with you, I do not have to be anything other than what I am. You see it all. And still, you call me beloved. Lord, teach me how to live in this vulnerability without shame. Teach me that tenderness is not weakness, that honesty is not dangerous, that being known is not something to fear. I want to show up in my life fully, not half-hidden, not guarded by fear of rejection. I want to lead with sincerity, to love with courage, to speak with clarity even when my voice trembles. I want to stop shrinking just to make others comfortable. You did not design me to disappear. You formed me to reflect your heart raw, radiant, real. Let me be the kind of person who is safe for others to be vulnerable with too. Let me create space for truth-telling without judgment, for weakness without criticism, for healing without haste. This world is already loud with voices that demand perfection. Let me be a quiet place where people can breathe, where grace speaks louder than performance, where hearts are not measured by how much they achieve, but by how deeply they can love. I bring to you today all the ways I have tried to self-protect, the walls I built to feel safe, even when they kept me isolated, the masks I wore to appear strong, even when I was aching inside. I do not want them anymore. They have kept me from connection. They have kept me from joy. They have kept me from the very healing I have been praying for. Take them, Lord. I do not need them here. What I need is truth, tenderness, and your nearness, which asks nothing from me but presence. Let me embrace the truth that vulnerability is where intimacy is born, not just with others, but with you. It is in my weakness that I finally stop performing. It is in my tears that I stop pretending. And it is there, in that holy space, that I find the comfort of your presence like a gentle hand on my back, reminding me that I am never alone. Not for one moment. Not even in my silent battles. Even when I did not know how to articulate the H, you understand it. Even when I can quite name the longing, you are already speaking to it. You reach into places I do not have the courage to face and fill them with peace. Not a peace that demands answers, but a peace that holds me as I am. The kind of peace that wraps around the soul like a soft blanket on a cold morning and whispers, "You are safe here. You are seen here. You are mine." So I sit in that safety. I let myself be loved, not for who I strive to be, but for who I already am. I stop reaching for perfection and start receiving your grace. I stop hustling to be enough and start resting in the truth that I already am. I do not have to prove anything. I do not have to earn a place at the table. I was invited the moment I was created, chosen, known, wanted, fully. Help me carry that awareness into this day, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a rooted belief. Let it shape the way I interact, the way I speak, the way I offer kindness even when I feel drained. Let it teach me to extend grace not just to others, but to myself, to allow room for mistakes, to soften my inner critic, to remember that healing is not a straight line, and growth is not always visible. Sometimes the most profound progress is the quiet choice to keep showing up. And when the day tests my tenderness, when someone misinterprets, or criticizes, or responds with indifference, remind me that their reaction is not the measure of my worth. Let my validation come from you alone. Let my stability rest not in applause, but in the quiet assurance that I am loved by a God who never changes. I thank you, Lord, that vulnerability with you is never wasted, that every honest word, every tear I hesitate to cry, every truth I dare to speak in the quiet becomes part of the healing you are already doing in me. I do not want to hide anymore, not from you, not from myself, not from the people who are meant to love the real me. Let today be a continuation of that courage. Let every moment I choose to be real become a step toward freedom. Let every time I speak truth with tenderness become a mirror of your heart. And in all the places where I still feel raw, still feel unsure, still feel exposed, wrap me in your kindness. Let your love be the covering that makes it safe to stay open. Let it be the place I return to again and again. I no longer fear being fully seen. Lord, you who have seen the depths of my heart without turning away, I continue to rest in the shelter of your presence. From where I ended in the quiet courage of vulnerability, I now find myself reaching for something deeper, not just to be seen, but to dwell with you in such nearness that I am forever changed. There is something unshakable in your presence that calls me to stop striving, to stop chasing, to stop proving, and simply be. The world moves quickly, always asking for more effort, more success, more energy, more resilience. But you, God, ask for none of those things first. You call me to come, to be still, to abide, and in that stillness, I begin to understand what it means to live from your strength instead of my own. I do not have to manufacture peace or piece together my joy. They are found in you, waiting for me to enter into them, like sunlight breaking through a canopy of trees, always present even when I forget how to look up. Sometimes I feel pressure to be everything for everyone, to carry burdens I was never asked to lift, to hold together situations that were never mine to fix. In those moments, I lose sight of what it means to trust you fully. I trade rest for control. I trade peace for performance, and my soul pays the cost. But here, now, in this sacred breath, I remember that you are not asking for my performance. You are inviting me to rest in your presence and let you carry what I cannot. Let that be enough for today. Let the miracle of your nearness become the anchor I have been searching for. I do not need every answer. I do not need every path illuminated. I need you. And when I have you, I lack nothing, even if the storm still rages around me. I can lay down my defenses because your presence is a shield. Even if the outcome is uncertain, I can breathe deeply because your presence is a promise. I am not alone. I never have been. Sometimes I forget that being in your presence is not about how spiritual I feel, or how eloquent my words are. It is about bringing my whole heart into the moment and letting you meet me there, whether I come with tears or with thanks, with trembling or with trust. You are never reluctant to receive me. Your love has no off switch. Your mercy is not rationed. You are not a distant deity watching from afar, but a present Father sitting with me even in my silence. God, show me how to carry your presence into the ordinary spaces of my day. Not just the quiet morning, but the tension of a conversation. Not just the comfort of prayer, but the chaos of decision-making. Not just the mountaintop of worship, but the valley of daily responsibilities. Let me see every task as a chance to stay close to you. Let my life become a dwelling place for your spirit, a continuous communion that does not require perfection. Only presence. There is something holy about being held by you in the middle of the mundane. When I wash dishes, when I walk down a hallway, when I respond to an email, let me remember that you are with me, not just conceptually, but intimately, right there in my breath, right there in the beat of my heart, right there in the unseen places where I struggle. Let me live like I know you are that close. Let that truth quiet every fear, every worry, every sense of unworthiness that tries to whisper otherwise. Lord, teach me to walk in step with you, to recognize your nudges, to hear your whispers, to follow your peace, not the loud noise of urgency, but the still assurance of your direction. When I am tempted to rush ahead, slow me. When I am tempted to give up, sustain me. When I am tempted to doubt, remind me of how faithfully you have walked beside me all this time. Your presence is not seasonal. It does not come and go like my feelings. It is steadfast, like the tide. It returns again and again to wash over me in grace. In a world that values visibility and speed, let me treasure the hidden and the slow, the moments when no one is watching but you, the choices I make that no one will celebrate but you see, the quiet disciplines of faith that seem small but shape eternity. Let your presence make those moments sacred. Let me find you there, not just in the loud hallelujahs, but in the soft, steady yes of my heart. I do not need to strive for greatness when I can live in grace. I do not need to be everything when I can rest in the one who is. You are enough for me, and when I rest in you, I discover that I am enough too, not because of what I do, but because of who I am in you. A child, a vessel, a beloved. When the world tells me I must earn my place, you remind me that I already belong. When the world measures me by output, you value my surrender. When the world tells me to hustle, you tell me to abide. That is the power of your presence. It redefines everything. It lifts the burden. It reorients the heart. It brings clarity to confusion and peace to pressure. It does not remove every storm, but it holds me through them. Let your presence not be a pause in my day, but the posture of my heart. Let it shape how I listen, how I lead, how I love. Let it soften me where I have become hardened. Let it energize me where I feel empty. Let it calm me where I am anxious. Let it center me when the world tries to pull me in every direction. You are the center that holds when everything else feels like is unraveling. Thank you, Father, for never being too busy for me, for never being disappointed by my need, for never measuring me by how much I get done. You delight in my nearness, not my performance. You delight in my return, not in how far I have gone. You delight in the one sheep, not just the 99. Your presence is not reserved for the holy, is the very thing that makes me whole. So I return, again and again, to this place, this quiet awareness that you are here, that I am loved, that nothing I do or face today will change the truth of who you are or how you feel about me. That is where I draw strength. That is where I find rest. And from that place, I can rise not to strive, but to live freely, fully, and faithfully with you right beside me. Father, as I linger in the calm of your presence, still carried by the rest I found in your embrace, I ask you now to strengthen me, not in the way the world defines strength, not in force or noise or assertion, but in the quiet resilience that comes from walking in your light. Let what I received in stillness now become the strength by which I live. Let this peace I carry grow legs. Let it walk with me into the demands of the day, into the relationships that need grace, into the moments that ask more than I feel I can give. There is a holy courage, Lord, that is born not from confidence in myself, but from trust in you, the kind of courage that does not roar, but remains, the kind that does not conquer by force, but stays rooted in love when everything feels uncertain. You are my light, and where you lead, I will follow, even if the path is unfamiliar, even if I tremble, even if I can only take one step at a time. Your presence before me is enough. Your hand beside me is enough. Sometimes, God, I feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on me, responsibilities to show up, to be kind, to be strong for others, to make the right choices. And I confess that in trying to hold it all, I often forget to let you hold me. But you are not asking me to walk alone. You are not expecting me to carry what only you can sustain. So help me to walk not under pressure, but under promise. The promise that I am never without help, never without guidance, never without hope. Let me move forward with a heart anchored in grace, not urgency. Let my words carry the fragrance of mercy. Let my decisions reflect the wisdom that comes from listening to you first. And when I begin to doubt, when the voice of fear whispers its lies again, remind me of the truth you already spoke, that I am chosen, held, and equipped for everything you have placed in front of me today. I do not ask for an easy path, Lord, only for the strength to walk the one you have called me to with integrity and tenderness. Let your light not just shine around me, but through me. Let it warm the places that feel cold. Let it expose what needs to be healed. Let it guide my steps away from reaction and into reflection. Let it lead me not just toward progress, but toward peace. And Father, when I encounter those who are weary, who are hiding their pain behind performance, or their fear behind silence, let me recognize them, because I have been there too. Let me offer what you have so freely given me, kindness that does not demand explanation, presence that does not require perfection. Let me be a mirror of your compassion to those who are watching from the shadows, unsure if they are worthy to step into the light. There is a different kind of strength you offer, one that makes room for softness, the strength to forgive, the strength to listen, the strength to withhold judgment, the strength to admit weakness. These things are not easy in a world that rewards dominance and speed. But they are the markers of your kingdom, and I want my life to reflect the kingdom more than I want it to reflect approval. So today, Lord, be the strength in my voice when I speak truth with love. Be the steadiness in my hands when I choose to bless instead of retaliate. Be the gentleness in my tone when I have to say hard things. Be the calm in my soul when I walk into situations that feel unpredictable. You have not called me to escape discomfort, but to carry peace into it, not to fix everything, but to remain faithful even when things stay unresolved. I know that some answers will come slowly. Some prayers will feel unanswered for a while. Some situations may not resolve the way I hoped, but that does not change who you are. And it does not shake what you have planted in me. Growth happens in hiddenness. Strength is forged in surrender. And trust is built not when things are easy, but when I keep walking with you through the hard. Let my walk today be a testimony not to my ability, but to your sufficiency. Let others see that it is not my willpower that sustains me, but your spirit. Let every action be an echo of what you are doing in my inner life. Let the light I carry draw others not to me, but to the one who is the source of every good and perfect gift. Even as I walk into tasks that seem small or repetitive, help me remember that they are not overlooked by you. Folding clothes, answering calls, showing up to work, offering a smile, choosing to forgive, they are seeds planted in eternal soil. Nothing done in love is wasted. Nothing done in your name is ever too small. Remind me of that when I feel invisible or unappreciated. You see, you know, and you honor the hidden faithfulness of your children. So let me walk humbly today, yet boldly. Let me be unafraid to take up the space you have given me, but wise enough to yield when love asks me to. Let me be a carrier of peace, a bringer of calm, a vessel of light in every place my feet touch. Even when I do not speak of you directly, let my presence carry the essence of you, steady, gentle, unshaken. I may not see the full picture of what you are doing through me, and maybe I never will on this side of eternity. But I will keep walking. I will keep showing up. I will keep trusting that every step taken with you becomes part of a bigger story, a redemptive story, a holy narrative stitched together by grace and obedience. If I stumble, remind me that falling is not failing when I fall into your arms. If I hesitate, remind me that fear does not disqualify faith. It is simply the moment where I can lean deeper into your courage. If I feel alone, remind me of the great cloud of witnesses who have gone before me, who now surround me in unseen ways, cheering me on in my quiet steps of trust. You are not only the God of my mountaintops, you are the God of my Mondays, my midnights, my mundane tasks, and my messy moments. And it is here in the walking, in the continuing, in the surrender that I become strong in ways the world cannot measure. So take my hand again. Father, lead me into the light One step at a time, I will follow. Lord, as I continue to walk with you, as the path winds through both brightness and shadow, I find myself leaning even more on the quiet strength you have cultivated within me. Yesterday's light carries me into today, and even though each new morning brings its own burdens and beauty, I know you are constant. You do not change with the seasons or shift with the winds of circumstance. You are steady when I am stretched. You are calm when the noise around me crescendos. You are the place my heart returns to, again and again, like a stream seeking its source. Give me endurance, Father, not just for the external demands, but for the quiet battles that no one sees. The internal struggle to stay kind when I feel overlooked. The silent tension of waiting without answers. The daily temptation to disconnect. To numb. To drift. Strengthen me not with sheer resolve, but with a grace that renews me moment by moment. Let my endurance be born not of stubbornness, but of surrender, not of pride, but of intimacy with you. There are moments when I want to retreat, not because I do not love, but because I feel worn. Moments when I crave silence, not out of peace, but out of exhaustion. Remind me in those moments that I do not have to prove anything, that you are not calling me to push through in my own might, but to let your spirit breathe through my weariness. You never asked me to be unbreakable. You only ask me to remain connected, to abide, to trust, to return. Help me recognize that enduring does not mean suppressing emotion or pretending to be unaffected. It means feeling deeply and still choosing love. It means waking up with aching questions and still choosing to trust. It means admitting I do not always understand, but deciding to walk with you anyway. You honor every quiet yes, every small act of faithfulness, every tear offered as a seed of trust. Nothing escapes your notice. Nothing is wasted. Let this endurance become a song in my soul, a rhythm of perseverance, not defined by force, but by faith. Teach me to breathe in your presence when I grow short of breath. Teach me to hold space for others, even as I long for my own comfort. Teach me to find beauty in the process, not just the destination. Life is not about arriving unscathed, but becoming more like you along the way. When others move faster, let me not grow envious. When I feel left behind, let me remember that your timing is perfect, and delay is not denial. Some roots grow deeper in the dark. Some flowers bloom later, but they are no less radiant. Teach me to walk in rhythm with you, not in rivalry with others. Let my endurance be marked not by comparison, but by communion. Lord, there are days when the heaviness I carry feels invisible to those around me, and in those moments, the enemy whispers that I am forgotten, unseen, uncelebrated. But you see, you know the weight and the cost. You know the story beneath the smile, the prayer behind the silence, the history behind the hesitation. And you cherish every moment I choose to continue, even when quitting feels easier. In that knowing, I find rest. In that nearness, I find renewal. Let me be fueled by the awareness that you are not only ahead of me, but beside me, walking at my pace, never rushing me into something I am not ready for. You are not impatient with my humanity. You are not disappointed when I need to slow down. You are the shepherd who carries, who restores, who defends. May this endurance soften me, not harden me. Let it deepen my compassion. Let it make me more attentive to others who are barely hanging on. Let my scars be a map for someone else's healing. Let the battles I have survived become bridges of understanding. I do not want to endure just for the sake of surviving. Lord, I want to endure so I can become more tender, more whole, more aligned with the rhythm of your heart. If today I am asked to wait again, give me grace to wait well, not in frustration, but in faith. If today holds moments of resistance, let me meet them with patience, not passive resignation, but active trust. If today requires me to forgive again, or to love without applause, or to believe when everything in me aches with doubt, let me remember that it is not my job to manufacture strength. It is my privilege to receive it from you. There is something holy about holding on. There is something sacred about not giving up, especially when no one is watching. You are the God of the secret place, the one who sees the offering of endurance when it looks like nothing to the world. So let me live for your gaze, not for the stage. Let me be anchored in what is eternal, not swept up by what is urgent. Let me stay the course with a quiet resilience, trusting that you are shaping something beautiful, even if I cannot yet name it. When the path feels long and the night stretches longer, let the memory of your faithfulness be my lantern. Let the stories of what you have done remind me that you are not finished. What you begin, you carry through to completion. I am not walking in circles, I am walking in circles of promise. And even detours are part of the design. There is no wasted mile when it is walked with you. And when I finally exhale at the end of this day, whether it ends in celebration or stillness, let me find joy in the simple truth that I remained, that I kept my eyes on you, my heart open, my spirit tethered, that I chose to be faithful over flashy, present over perfect, grounded in grace rather than driven by fear. In that kind of endurance, there is quiet power, a power the world may not applaud, but heaven rejoices over. And it is in that power that I want to live, breathe, and become. Let it shape me into someone who not only survives the storms, but sings through them. Someone who loves from deep wells. Someone who stays when staying is hard. Someone who keeps choosing light, even when the dark presses in. This is the kind of life I long for, one rooted in grace, one defined by steadfastness, one that walks the long roads, not alone, but held by the God who never lets go. Father, as I breathe in the quiet of this morning, and let your presence settle over my thoughts like morning dew on thirsty ground, I find myself reflecting on what it means to carry courage, not the loud, dramatic kind that draws attention, but the gentle courage that walks quietly beside faith, the kind that does not seek validation, yet shows up anyway, the kind that keeps going when no one is watching. That silent bravery is what I need today, Lord. And I know you understand it intimately, because you move through this world with power wrapped in humility. There is a kind of courage that wakes up and chooses kindness in an unkind world. There is strength in speaking gently when tempers rise, in responding with grace when met with misunderstanding, in being the one who builds bridges instead of walls. I want to live in that kind of courage, Lord, the kind that does not need to win, but desires to heal, the kind that does not fight to be seen, but seeks to reflect your heart, the courage to love deeply even when it risks wounding, the courage to hope again even when disappointment lingers in the corners. Yesterday's endurance becomes today's invitation to trust deeper. And I know that courage without trust is fragile. So I ask you to be the well from which I draw my bravery. When I feel small in the face of responsibilities, when I question whether I am truly capable of what lies ahead, meet me in those questions with steady hands and remind me that it is not about my ability, but about your sufficiency working through me. Let my courage today be soft, not because it is weak, but because it is secure. Let me be the one who listens more than I speak, who shows up in the mundane and finds wholeness in the unnoticed. Give me the courage to do the unseen things with love, the hidden things with joy, and the hard things with faith. There are no small acts when they are done in your name, no wasted effort when my motive is worship. God, help me recognize that courage also looks like letting go of control when plans shift, letting go of offense when words sting, letting go of outcomes I have clung to so tightly that I forgot how to breathe without them. Letting go does not mean defeat, it means I trust that you hold what I cannot. Give me the courage to surrender what was never mine to carry. There are conversations I may need to have today that require courage. The courage to speak truth wrapped in love. The courage to apologize without defending myself. The courage to set boundaries that honor both others and myself. Walk with me into each word, and let your spirit guide the tone, the timing, and the tenderness of my speech. I do not want to just say the right things, I want to say them the right way. And there may be moments today where silence is the greater strength, where restraint is the bravest response, where I feel the need to prove myself. And yet you invite me to be still. Teach me to trust that silence in the right moment is not weakness, but wisdom. Teach me to discern when to step forward and when to step back. Let courage not rush me, but root me. Father, I also need courage for the slow places, for the waiting seasons, the not yet answers, the in-between hours where nothing seems to move. Those are the places where my faith sometimes flickers. Remind me that courage is often quiet persistence, the refusal to give up hope even when the timeline stretches longer than I planned. Remind me that faithfulness is a form of courage too. Give me the courage to celebrate others without comparison, to bless without jealousy, to rejoice in someone else's victory even when I am still walking through valleys. That kind of courage requires a heart deeply anchored in your goodness. Let me live from that place, a place where your love is my source, not the opinions or applause of others. And God, in the quiet places where grief still lingers, where memories rise uninvited, where wounds still ache beneath the surface, give me the courage to face them with you, not to pretend they do not exist, but to walk through them with honesty and healing. Courage does not mean I have to be over it. It means I refuse to be ruled by it. It means I let you into those tender spaces, trusting that you heal not by erasing the pain, but by transforming it. Let my courage flow into the way I serve, the way I parent, the way I forgive, the way I lead, the way I stay present. Let it shape how I choose love over fear, how I choose to keep going when my energy is low but my calling is still clear. Let my life speak of a steady courage, a courage that does not need to shout but changes the atmosphere by simply showing up. Even in the routines of today, in the folding of laundry, the answering of emails, the care for others, the commuting and cooking and calling and checking in, infuse each act with sacred intention. Let me see my tasks not as burdens, but as blessings, not as obligations, but as opportunities to reflect you. That takes courage to the courage to see beauty in the repetitive, to find purpose in what the world calls ordinary. And if discouragement tries to cloud my vision, if the enemy whispers that I am not enough, not making a difference, not seen, then God, speak louder. Let your truth drown out every lie. Remind me that you rejoice over my small obediences, that you delight in every unseen moment of compassion, that you smile at every step I take in faith, that you are not measuring my worth by my productivity, but by the posture of my heart. I do not ask for the courage of heroes or headlines. I ask for the courage of the everyday, the courage to be gentle in a world that rewards harshness, the courage to be generous when I feel lack, the courage to remain hopeful in a cynical age. I ask for courage that flows not from pride, but from presence, from time with you, from truth I carry in my bones, because I have sat at your feet and listened. Let that courage become who I am, not something I wear for moments of crisis, but a garment I put on daily. Let it shape how I respond, how I see, how I give. Let it be the courage to be exactly who you have called me to be, nothing more, nothing less. To show up fully, imperfectly, authentically, to walk in truth and not pretense, to be a light not by striving to shine, but by staying connected to the source. And so, Father, in this sacred stillness before the day fully begins, I lift my hands in surrender and ask you again, make me brave in the ways that matter most. Let my life speak of you in ways that words cannot. Let the courage you grow in me become a refuge for others, a shelter for the weary, a quiet testimony of what it means to be held and led by you, Lord. As the morning continues to unfold around me, I pause once again in this sacred space between breath and thought, between longing and trust, to invite you deeper into the quiet decisions of today, the ones that no one else will see, the ones I won't announce, but that will ripple through the atmosphere of my home, my work, my spirit. Yesterday's courage now leans gently into today's need for wisdom. And I bring that longing before you, not as someone who knows the way, but as someone deeply aware of how often I do not. There is something sacred about needing guidance. It humbles the heart. It opens the soul to listen. And so I bring you the maps I have drawn, the plans I have made, the assumptions I carry, and I hold them up to your light. What do you see that I do not? What needs to be let go, rearranged, postponed, or surrendered? Because no decision is too small to matter. Each one threads through the larger tapestry you are weaving, and I want to walk in rhythm with what you are creating. Father, teach me to welcome wisdom not only in the monumental turns, but in the daily patterns, how I respond to interruptions, how I spend my time, what words I release, what thoughts I entertain. Sometimes it is not about what I do, but how I carry myself through what I do. Let wisdom shape the way I show up, not only what I show up for. In the stillness of the morning, before the noise begins, I sense how wisdom often whispers, rather than shouts. It does not demand center stage, but waits patiently to be heard. Soften the noise in me, God, that I might hear what is subtle but true, quiet the voices of pressure and pride, that I might discern the voice of peace, not the kind of peace that avoids conflict, but the kind that walks calmly through it, the kind that knows you are with me, even when the answers do not come quickly. There is wisdom in knowing what to hold and what to release. Show me which burdens I have picked up that were never mine to carry. Show me which responsibilities are invitations and which are distractions. Show me the difference between persistence and stubbornness, between humility and fear, between discernment and doubt. Help me recognize your leading when it comes wrapped in discomfort or unfamiliarity. Help me not to shrink from difficult choices simply because they stretch me. Lord, I know wisdom grows not only in books or teachings, but in the soil of listening. Help me become a better listener, not only to you, but to those around me. Let my ears become tuned to the stories beneath the surface, the needs behind the noise, the truth behind the tension. Sometimes the most important decisions begin with the choice to simply listen well. Let wisdom slow me down when my instinct is to rush. Let it anchor me when the temptation is to react. Let it hold me steady when emotions rise quickly and clarity feels distant. When I face crossroads today, whether in conversation, in scheduling, in how I steward resources, remind me that I do not walk through them alone. You have promised to guide me, not only with direction but with presence. Even when I do not feel certain, help me to feel accompanied, because wisdom is not about having all the right answers. It is about walking closely with the one who does. God, protect me from the illusion that success equals wisdom. Help me see that wisdom sometimes says no to applause, walks away from shortcuts, chooses patience over praise. Help me measure my day not by what I accomplish, but by how closely I stayed aligned with you. Let my decisions reflect not my ambition, but your character. Let them be rooted in compassion, shaped by grace, and guided by truth. And when I make mistakes, because I will, let wisdom also shape how I respond to them. Let me be quick to take responsibility, slow to cast blame, willing to learn, and open to growth. Let the way I recover from wrong turns speak as loudly of your presence as the times I get it right. Because wisdom is not perfection, it is the humility to grow, the grace to keep learning, the willingness to change course when you redirect me. Father, I need wisdom in how I use my words today. Help me speak life, not because I have rehearsed the right lines, but because my heart is anchored in truth. Let encouragement be my instinct, not flattery. Let honesty be wrapped in kindness. Let silence be chosen when it protects peace. May my words build more than they tear down. And if I must speak difficult truth, let me do so with gentleness and care. Give me wisdom in how I navigate my relationships today. Help me to see people as you see them, not as tasks or challenges or burdens, but as beloved reflections of your image. Let me bring patience where irritation wants to rise. Let me offer understanding where judgment would be easier. Let me walk in empathy where indifference tempts me. Each interaction is an opportunity to embody wisdom in love. And as I look to tasks ahead, both big and small, give me wisdom in how to pace myself. Not every hour must be filled. Not every invitation must be accepted. Not every opportunity must be pursued. Teach me the rhythm of enough. Let me choose rest without guilt, margin without shame, simplicity without fear of missing out. Show me how to make space for what truly matters and how to let go of what does not. Lord, let your wisdom be a filter, a compass, a foundation. Let it shape how I approach conflict, how I handle pressure, how I respond to uncertainty. Let it quiet the panic that sometimes tries to sneak in when the day does not go as planned. Let it remind me that your timing is always better than my rush. Let it whisper peace when the road ahead is still unfolding. I ask for wisdom not to control but to trust, not to impress but to serve, not to calculate but to love. May my decisions today reflect a deeper confidence in who you are, not just what I think I must do. May my day become a reflection of heaven's priorities, a song of alignment, a quiet testimony of a life led not by impulse but by intention. And when I look back on this day as it comes to a close, I do not ask to see perfection. I ask to see evidence of your fingerprints, moments when I paused before reacting, moments when I chose the longer road because it was right, moments when I listened instead of defended, moments when I waited instead of pushed, moments when I loved instead of feared. That will be enough for me. So, Father, I step into this day not as one who has everything figured out, but as one who is learning to walk slowly, speak gently, decide carefully, and live wisely because you are with me. And that, more than any answer or outcome, is the truest wisdom of all. Lord, as the rhythm of this morning continues, I remain here with you, allowing the wisdom you planted in my spirit to blossom into stillness that sustains me. What you began in the quiet spaces of surrender and trust now begins to take root as I move into the changing currents of the day. The moments are still gentle, the light still soft, but I can feel the pulse of transition stirring beneath the calm. And so I ask not only for wisdom, but for a steady heart, one that does not falter when change arrives. Change has a way of entering unannounced. Sometimes it whispers, other times it crashes in. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in opportunity, and other times in loss. Sometimes it thrills me with possibility, and other times it unnerves me with uncertainty. But no matter how it comes, I bring it to you, Father, because I believe that nothing shifts in my life without passing through your hands first. Even in the things I do not understand, even in the things I would not have chosen, I trust that you are still writing a story greater than the sum of all these moving pieces. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that truth becomes my anchor when everything else around me feels like it is shifting beneath my feet. Let my heart lean into that constancy now. Let it remember that while circumstances may evolve, your nature never does. You are still faithful. You are still kind. You are still close. And I can find peace not because everything is stable, but because you are. Lord, help me embrace this day with open hands instead of clenched fists. Let me hold lightly what is not meant to stay, and let me receive freely what you place before me. Give me the courage to release what no longer fits in this season, and the humility to accept what I may not yet fully understand. Change often feels like letting go and reaching forward at the same time. That in-between place can be disorienting, but I know you dwell there too. Help me see that the space between what was and what will be is still holy ground. Teach me to breathe deeply in transitions, to not rush through them, to not force clarity when you are inviting trust. Teach me to wait without anxiety, to move without fear, to speak without desperation. Give me a heart that is rooted deeper than my surroundings, so that when the winds of change come, I will not be swept away by uncertainty. Instead, I will remain grounded in the assurance that you are with me, that you go before me, and that nothing surprises you. There is something sacred in every shift, even the uncomfortable ones, even the endings I did not expect, even the beginnings I did not ask for. Help me find you there. Let me not waste the discomfort. The questions, the pauses. Let me not rush to escape the unknown. Let me ask what it is you are forming in me through the waiting. What character is being shaped? What old thing is being pruned to make space for something new? Let me not fear the pruning, for I know it is love that holds the shears. Father, I need peace when the answers are slow to come, when doors close and no new ones have opened, when plans shift, and I am left staring at empty spaces I thought would be filled. Let my identity not be tied to what is changing, but to who you are. Let me not mistake movement for progress or stillness for failure. Let me remember that sometimes standing still in your presence is the most powerful act of faith. God, I pray also for the relationships in my life that are experiencing transition. Whether through distance, time, growth, or pain, I bring them to you. Teach me to love even when dynamics shift. Teach me to forgive when paths diverge. Teach me to let go with grace when seasons end, and to welcome with joy when new ones begin. Let me not idolize permanence, but instead embrace the beauty of evolving connection, rooted in grace and truth. Let me have compassion for myself in change, to not expect perfection, to not hide my questions, to not mask my grief. You see it all, and you do not turn away. You walk with me through each stage, not demanding strength but offering comfort, not requiring answers but inviting honesty. Let me come to you again and again, just as I am, not just when I feel strong, but especially when I feel fragile. Lord, even as I speak this prayer, I sense that some of the changes unfolding are not external, but internal, shifts in perspective, deepened awareness, shedding of illusions, growing clarity. These changes are quieter, but no less significant. Help me be patient with the process of becoming, of unlearning what no longer serves, of realigning with who I truly am in you. Growth rarely looks like a straight line. but every step counts when it is taken with intention and surrender. Remind me, too, that joy is allowed in the midst of transition, that I do not have to wait for resolution to celebrate what is still good. Let me find beauty even in the gaps. Let me see the sun breaking through even in uncertain skies. Let me hold gratitude like a lamp that lights the next step. Let laughter find me even in unfamiliar places. Let wonder not be drowned by worry. God, let this day be a testimony to trust. Not because I have everything figured out, but because I have chosen to walk with you through every twist and turn. Let each choice I make be grounded in your peace, not fear. Let my posture toward the unknown be one of expectancy, not dread. Let my heart remain open even when it aches. Let my hope remain steady even when the outcomes are unclear. And if today brings unexpected news, unexpected changes, or unexpected blessings, prepare me now to receive it all with a heart that is anchored and a spirit that is soft. Let me not be so consumed by trying to control the future that I miss the grace unfolding right now. Let me be fully present in this moment, knowing that this too is part of the journey. Father, I yield again to your timing, your ways, your will, even when it interrupts mine, especially when it interrupts mine. Let my soul grow familiar with surrender. Let my steps be guided by a deeper trust. Let this day, in all its unpredictability, become fertile ground for transformation, not because it went as planned, but because I allowed you to lead. So here I stand in the middle of a morning that is still unfolding, in the middle of a life that is still being written, in the middle of change I may not fully understand, and I choose to remain with you, because you are the unchanging one, and in you I find the courage to keep moving forward. Father, as I continue to remain in this posture of surrender, letting each breath become a whispered yes to your will, I sense you calling me deeper, not into louder declarations or grand displays, but into the quiet dignity of humility. There is something sacred about stepping back, lowering my voice, loosening my grip, and making room for you to lead. From the still ground of trust that you established in me through every shift and transition, I now ask you to teach me how to walk humbly, how to live from a heart not puffed up with certainty, but softened by reverence. I have seen how easy it is to believe that progress must always look like visibility, that value must always come with recognition. But you are teaching me that some of the most powerful things grow in hiddenness. Some of the most beautiful acts are never applauded, and some of the most meaningful moments are between just me and you. So let me not be afraid to go unnoticed, to be unseen by the world, if it means I am fully seen by you. Lord, help me remember that humility is not self-deprecation, but holy awareness. It is not thinking less of myself, but thinking of myself less. It is the courage to place others before me without needing to be the center. It is the wisdom to know that my voice matters, but it does not need to be the loudest in the room. Help me resist the pressure to prove, to impress, to posture. Let my confidence come from quiet intimacy with you, not from performance or praise. Let me walk into this day with a spirit that listens more than it speaks, that chooses gentleness over force, that offers kindness without expectation, that serves without seeking repayment. Let me be the one who pauses to truly see people, who listens to what goes unsaid, who offers presence where others offer advice. Let me move slowly enough to notice pain in someone's eyes, or weariness in their voice. Let me be willing to carry what is not mine just to ease someone else's burden. Teach me to release the need to always be right, to not win arguments at the cost of peace, to let go of defensiveness. Let my security in you be so deep that I do not need to dominate, do not need to insist, do not need to control. Let me trust that sometimes silence is stronger than speaking, that surrender is more powerful than resistance, and that grace often enters through the quietest doors. Father, give me discernment today to see beyond appearances, to perceive truth without judgment, to respond instead of react. Let me be slow to anger, quick to forgive. Let me be brave enough to admit when I am wrong, and gracious enough to celebrate when others succeed. Let my posture be low, not because I have been diminished, but because I have chosen to lift others higher. Let me be a reflection of the kind of love that kneels to wash feet, and when pride tries to creep in, dressed as certainty or entitlement or self-righteousness, let me recognize its disguise. Let me return again to the feet of your mercy, where every illusion is stripped away, where I remember that everything I am, everything I have been given, is a gift, not earned, not owed, but poured out by your goodness. That awareness is what humbles me, not shame, not guilt, but gratitude. Lord, I want to be known not for how loudly I speak, but for how gently I live, not for how much I know, but for how deeply I love. Let my words carry peace. Let my presence bring calm. Let my life speak of you more than my mouth ever could. And if there is conflict today, help me be a peacemaker. If there is tension, let me be the one who softens. If there is bitterness, let me be the one who forgives first. Let me not rush to defend myself, but be willing to listen. Let me not hoard credit, but share joy freely. Let me not cling to offense, but release it before it takes root. Let humility be the soil in which my character is formed, the place where my heart bows low, not out of weakness, but out of reverence for the one who made me. I do not want to live a life that looks important. I want to live a life that is surrendered. God, even in how I treat myself, let humility lead. Let me be kind to the parts of me still learning, patient with the wounds that are still healing, gentle with the mistakes I still make. Let me not measure myself by the world's expectations, but by your invitation to walk justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with you. Let me be content with progress, not obsessed with perfection. Let me rest in your shaping rather than striving to reshape myself in the image of someone else. Help me resist the temptation to compare, to believe that I am behind, to believe that I am not enough. Comparison robs peace, dims gratitude, and fuels insecurity. Let me stay in my lane, run my race, walk my path. Let me cheer others on without envying their pace. Let me remember that humility celebrates others without diminishing itself, that honoring someone else's journey does not negate the worth of mine. Today, I release the desire to be impressive. I choose instead to be available. Available to you. Available to those around me. Available to the quiet nudges of compassion that interrupt my schedule. Available to the sacred interruptions that carry eternal weight. Let me not miss the divine because I was chasing the dramatic. Let me not overlook the holy because I was seeking the extraordinary. You often move in the stillness. Let me not rush past it. Father, remind me that you modeled humility in ways that shattered expectations. You came not to be served, but to serve. You knelt to bless, to heal, to feed, to restore. You touched the untouchable. You honored the unseen. You wept with the grieving. You walked with the rejected. You gave up position for proximity, crown for a cross, majesty for mercy. Let me follow that example not just with admiration, but with embodiment. And if ever I am tempted to use power to elevate myself, correct my heart, let me use influence to lift the lowly, to empower the voiceless, to shelter the weary. Let me build tables, not thrones. Let me create space, not silence others. Let my strength be measured not in dominance, but in how tenderly I care for the fragile. Let me speak with authority, but wear it with gentleness. In the midst of every opportunity that comes today, let humility be the filter through which I make decisions. If success comes, let it not inflate me. If correction comes, let it not crush me. Let both be held with equal grace. Knowing that neither defines who I am, only you do. My worth is secure in you, and that truth is the anchor that steadies me no matter what the day holds. So I walk into the hours ahead, not seeking to be seen, but to see. Not seeking to be served, but to serve. Not chasing applause, but listening for your quiet approval. Let this day be marked not by the noise I create, but by the peace I carry. Let me walk low, so that love can rise. Let me stay small, so that you can be great in me. Let humility shape the way I speak, move, love, and live. Let it be the lens through which I see the world and the mirror in which I see myself. Lord, now that humility has quieted my soul and softened the ground of my spirit, I find my heart more sensitive to the struggles of those around me. Where pride once numbed me, now compassion draws me closer. I feel the ache of others not as a burden, but as an invitation to live not only for myself, but as a vessel of kindness in a world that forgets how to be gentle. You are showing me that a humble heart is not weak, it is strong enough to care, strong enough to stay, strong enough to break for others without breaking apart. Father, let this day be marked by compassion in action. Not only words of comfort, but hands that help. Not only moments of sympathy, but decisions shaped by empathy. Let me be deeply aware of what others may be carrying beneath their smiles and silences. Let me be patient when I encounter frustration. Let me be gracious when I see faults. Let me be present where others have been abandoned. Let me be a quiet light in places where the world has gone dim with indifference. Help me notice the wary one today, the person holding back tears in a meeting, the stranger who seems lost in thought, the loved one who hides behind business. Help me pause long enough to ask questions that go deeper than surface. Give me the courage to sit in someone's pain without trying to fix it. Let me listen not to reply, but to understand. Let me care not as a task, but as a way of life. Let compassion become my reflex, not my afterthought. Lord, make my heart tender enough to feel and strong enough to respond. Let it be unafraid of sorrow. Let it be open to joy. Let it not be guarded by fear or numbed by overexposure. Let it remain childlike in wonder and wise in love. Let me feel deeply and love sincerely, not just those who are easy to love, but those who challenge me, not just those who mirror my beliefs, but those who test my grace. There is no shortage of pain in this world, but there is also no limit to your mercy flowing through us. So let me be a channel, not a reservoir. Let what you pour into me pour out freely. Peace, patience, kindness, forgiveness, gentleness, and goodness. Let me not store up comfort while others suffer, or hoard hope while others sink in despair. Let me share what I have, even if it is only time, attention, or a quiet moment of kindness that no one else may notice, but you. Help me extend compassion not only to others, but also to myself. Let me not shame my mistakes, but learn from them with humility. Let me not rush my healing, but honor the process with patience. Let me treat my own heart as gently as I would treat someone I love. Let me silence the harsh inner critic and replace with the still voice of grace. Let me see myself through your eyes, not perfect, but deeply beloved. Father, as I encounter conflict today, let me respond with understanding, not assumption. When I am tempted, judge. Remind me of the many times you showed me mercy. When I am wronged, help me choose compassion over retaliation. When I am right, help me choose compassion over pride. Let me seek reconciliation, not victory. Healing, not division. Let me carry peace with me like a soft wind that quiets tension wherever I go. Even in small interactions, help me be kind to the tired cashier, the distracted coworker, the impatient driver, the struggling neighbor, the friend who seems distant, the stranger who needs a smile. Let me not underestimate the power of small kindnesses, for they ripple farther than I may ever see. Let me trust that sometimes the most holy thing I can do is simply care. God, ask you to help me see through the surface. Let me look past the masks people wear, past the facades of strength, past the roles and titles and appearances. Let me see the human behind the behavior. Let me remember that every person I meet carries unseen battles, unspoken griefs, unanswered questions. Let me meet them with gentleness, not assumption. Let my eyes reflect your mercy. Let my words carry your kindness. Let my heart be a safe place for others to rest. Let compassion shape the way I lead. If I lead, the way I follow. If I follow, the way I disagree. The way I correct. The way I set boundaries. The way I offer truth. Let love be the motive behind all things, and let it be evident in every gesture, every pause, every decision. Let me be known not for my opinions, but for my care. Let me stand firm in conviction, but bend always toward mercy. In times of hurry, remind me to slow down enough to see. In times of frustration, remind me to choose grace over reaction. In moments of pain, remind me that healing often begins with being heard. Let me never be too busy to be kind, never too burdened to notice, never too focused to care. Let compassion interrupt my plans, for it is in those holy interruptions that you often move the most. Father, if I am entrusted with someone else's vulnerability today, let me treat it like sacred ground. If someone opens their heart, let me not rush past their pain, but sit gently with it. Let me hold their trust with honor. Let me respond with dignity. Let me remember that kindness is not weakness, it is divine strength wrapped in gentleness. Let me never use truth as a weapon, but as a balm. Let me never use care to manipulate, but to lift. And in moments when I feel numb or indifferent, when compassion feels hard or inconvenient, draw me close to you again. Remind me of the mercy that saved me. Remind me of the grace that met me in my lowest moments. Remind me of how you looked at me not with condemnation, but with love, not with frustration, but with patience. Let that memory awaken tenderness again. Help me forgive freely, even when it hurts. Let me hold no record of wrongs. Let me release bitterness before it becomes a chain. Let me be quicker to understand than to accuse. Let me be more eager to restore than to condemn. Let me believe the best, even when it is easier to expect the worst. Let me open my hands in reconciliation before I raise them in defense. Let me choose love not as a feeling, but as a discipline, not as a transaction, but as a calling. Lord, as I face choices today, let compassion guide them. When I speak, let love shape my tone. When I act, let mercy guide my steps. When I plan, let care be at the center. Let no opportunity for kindness go wasted. Let no chance to comfort go ignored. Let no soul pass by without at least a silent blessing. You taught us that even a cup of water, when given in love, holds eternal value. Let me live in that truth today. And if I grow weary of doing good, if the weight of empathy begins to feel like too much, remind me that I do not carry it alone. Remind me that you are the source of every kindness I give. That I am not the healer, I am simply the hand you use. I am not the answer, I am simply the invitation you send. Let me rest in that. Let me draw from your endless well, so I never run dry. As this day unfolds, let compassion be my language. Let grace be my signature. Let tenderness be my legacy. Let people feel lighter after crossing my path. Let burdens feel a little easier because I chose to care. Let hope feel a little closer because I chose to listen. Let love feel a little more possible because I chose to believe in its power. Let this be the kind of life that quietly changes the world, not by noise, but by kindness that echoes far beyond the moment. Lord, as I carry forward the spirit of compassion from the steps behind me, I sense you inviting me into a deeper trust, a trust not built on clarity, but on surrender, a trust that allows me to walk through the uncertain and the unseen with steady feet, because I am anchored in you. Not every question will be answered today. Not every door will open on my timeline. Not every season will make sense in the moment. But you are not asking me to understand everything. You are asking me to walk with you anyway. Father, help me let go of the need to predict, control, and prepare for every outcome. Teach me the sacred rhythm of trusting without knowing, of stepping forward without seeing the full road ahead. There is a quiet strength in releasing the future into your hands. There is a holy peace in not striving, in not forcing, in not needing to grasp what is not mine to hold. Let me loosen my grip on what I cannot control and tighten my hold on your faithfulness. Even now, I may not know what waits for me in the hours to come. I may be entering into conversations that will change my course. I may be crossing paths with people who will shape my heart. I may be walking into challenges that stretch my limits or into blessings I never saw coming. Whatever it is, I trust that you are already there. Before I arrive, you are present. Before I speak, you are working. Before I move, you have gone before me. Remind me today that faith is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is a whisper that says, I do not know, but I believe. I do not see, but I go. I do not feel it all, but I choose it anyway. Let this quiet courage mark my day. Let me not mistake stillness for absence or silence for neglect. Let me know that you are in every moment I release to you. And the more I release, the freer I become. Let me not try to skip the process. Let me not rush what needs to unfold slowly. Let me not resent the waiting places, the in-between seasons, the unclear steps. So often, that is where you do your deepest work. In the soil of uncertainty, you plant seeds of trust. In the darkness of delay, you birth new vision. In the fog of transition, you teach me to listen differently, to pay attention not with my eyes, but with my spirit. Help me embrace the discomfort of not knowing as an invitation to deeper intimacy with you. If my plans fall apart today, help me believe that something better is forming. If I face closed doors, let me believe that you are guiding me, not punishing me. If what I expected looks different than what I receive, help me trust that you are not withholding, but redirecting. Let my faith not be tied to outcomes, but to relationship. Let me trust your heart even when I cannot trace your hand. Let me follow your voice even when the path is dim. Lord, help me stay faithful in the small things, even when the big picture is unclear. Let me show up to the tasks that seem insignificant, and knowing that in your kingdom, no act of faithfulness is ever wasted. Let me tend to what is in front of me with care and love, not waiting for a spotlight, not needing applause, simply because I know you see me. Let me steward this day as sacred ground, not because it is perfect, but because you are present in it. Help me not fear change, but welcome it as growth. Help me not fear endings, but see them as beginnings in disguise. Help me not fear weakness, but let it lead me into your strength. When the day surprises me, when it does not unfold as I envisioned, help me lean, not panic. Help me breathe, not break. Help me pivot with grace and trust that you are writing a better story than I could ever plan for myself. There may be things today that test my faith, moments that stir up old fears or whisper familiar doubts. Let me recognize them without being ruled by them. Let me speak back with the truth of who you are. Let me remember the times you carried me when I could not see the path. Let me remember the doors you open that I did not even knock on. Let me remember how you made a way when there was no way. Let memory be a tool of trust today. Even if I stumble, even if I hesitate, even if I question, let me return to this place. You are with me, not just in the resolved places, but in the unraveling, not just in the confidence, but in the trembling, not just in the answered prayers, but in the waiting rooms of faith. Let me learn to walk in the mystery with joy. Let me discover that the unknown is not empty, it is full of possibility, full of you. As I navigate this day, I may find myself at crossroads, places where choices are not easy, where wisdom is not obvious, where the way forward feels tangled. In those moments, slow me down. Let me not rush into decisions out of fear or pressure. Let me listen for your voice, not just the loudest noise. Let me choose integrity over convenience. Let me choose peace over pride. Let me choose love over being right. And if I must wait, let me wait well with hope, not frustration. Remind me that not everything that looks like a delay is a denial. That sometimes the slow road is the surest road, that detours are not distractions, but redirections, that open spaces are not empty, but sacred, that not knowing is not a failure, but a classroom where trust is deepened and character is refined. Let me not despise the lessons of today simply because they do not look like the breakthroughs I was expecting. Father, if I feel overwhelmed by what is ahead, let me pause and return to the present. Let me live this moment fully instead of racing ahead to what might happen next. Let me find you in the now, in the breath I take, in the sky above me, in the smile of a stranger, in the warmth of the sun, in the simplicity of doing the next right thing. Let me stop measuring the value of a day by its productivity and instead measure it by the depth of my trust in you. Let every small act today be infused with faith. The way I speak, the way I listen, the way I serve, the way I work, the way I rest. Let it all be an act of surrender. A quiet declaration that says, I trust you here. I trust you now. I trust you with what I see and with what I do not, with what I understand and with what I do not, with what I hope for and with what you know I need more than I do. Let this trust not be shallow or performative. Let it be rooted deep, like trees planted beside living water. Let it grow stronger with every storm. Let it become a song I carry within me, a melody of quiet confidence that rises even in uncertainty. Let it draw others close, not to my certainty, but to your presence. Today, I surrender my agenda, my outcomes, my timelines. I surrender my expectations, my assumptions, my imagined futures. I lay them all down not with reluctance, but with relief, because when I release what was never mine to control, I make room for the peace that only you can give. I make room to be surprised by grace. I make room to breathe again. So as I walk forward, one step at a time, may trust be the ground beneath me and hope the horizon before me. May I embrace what comes, not with resistance, but with openness. May I live with courage, not because I have all the answers, because I know the one who walks with me through all the questions. May I choose to believe, again and again, that this life this very day is unfolding under the care of a God who never fails, never forgets, and never lets go. God, as I stand in the stillness of this early hour, I feel the hush of possibility all around me. The world has not yet spoken its loud demands, and my heart leans in to listen for your whisper. In the gentle unfolding of this moment, I sense the sacred weight of mourning a fresh beginning, not defined by what has been, but by what could be in you. This is not just another sunrise. This is another invitation to trust you deeper, to walk with you closer, and to let today be shaped not by fear, but by faith. Lord, you have walked with me through the winding roads of thought, prayer, hope, and surrender, from the quiet aches of uncertainty to the loud declarations of praise. You have been here steady, patient, loving. I have learned to release the things I cannot hold, to embrace the beauty in the unknown, and to find strength not in my own efforts, but in your unshakable presence. This morning, I do not carry perfection in my hands, but I carry willingness. I do not bring all the answers, but I bring a heart open to learning, to growing, to being led. Father, teach me to cherish the now, to drink deeply of the moment I am in without being anxious about what is ahead or weighed down by what is behind. There is something holy in learning to be fully present, attentive to the breath, the light, the rhythm of grace that surrounds and fills this space. Let me not hurry through the morning as if it were stepping stone to something better. Let me treat this time as sacred, for this is where you meet me in the silence, in the stillness, in the pause before movement. As I prepare to step into the hours ahead, I invite peace to take its place within me, not a peace dependent on circumstances, but one rooted in you. The kind of peace that lets me speak gently when the world shouts. The kind of peace that lets me act with compassion even when I feel pressure. The kind of peace that is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of trust. I want to carry that peace like a quiet light within me, glowing through every word I speak, every decision I make, every room I enter. Let this day be colored by kindness. Let the way I treat others reflect the way you treat me, with mercy, with patience, with understanding. Let me listen not just with ears, but with empathy. Let me respond not out of irritation, but from a place of love. Let me extend grace even when it feels undeserved, for I, too, am the daily recipient of unearned grace. Help me see past people as facades, into their humanity. Help me slow down enough to notice the wary eyes, the silent struggles, the unspoken needs. God, if I am called to lead today, let me lead with humility. If I am called to serve, let me serve with joy. If I am called to wait, let me wait with patience. If I am called to let go, let me release with trust. Let every moment be an act of worship, not just the moments that feel spiritual, but also the ones that seem ordinary. The washing of dishes, the replying to emails, the traffic, the meetings, the pauses in between. Let it all be woven with purpose when done in your presence. And when the pace quickens, when the noise returns, when the distractions pull at me, let me not forget this beginning. Let me return here in my mind a place where the light was soft, the air was still, and your nearness was tangible. Let that memory steady me when I feel unanchored. Let the silence I carry within speak louder than the chaos outside. Let me become a place of peace for others, a reflection of the calm you have placed inside of me. There will be challenges. There will be detours and disappointments and things I would not have chosen. But there will also be moments of laughter, of beauty, quiet wonder that catch me off guard and remind me of the goodness still alive in the world. Help me notice them. Help me not miss the small miracles. The sunlight through the trees, the first sip of coffee, the unexpected kindness of a stranger, the sound of someone's genuine laughter. These are not small things. These are signs that you are near. I choose to walk through this day believing that nothing is wasted, that even the hard things are held by your hands, that the tears I cry are seen, that the joys I feel are shared, that the questions I carry are not ignored. I do not walk alone, even when no one else understands. You do. Even when no one else sees the depth of my heart. You do. That is enough. That is everything. So I step out now, not with a checklist, but with a quiet prayer echoing in my soul. Let today be marked by love. Let today reflect something eternal. Let today, in all its simplicity and struggle and surprise, be a space where heaven touches earth through the way I live, speak, and believe. Thank you for this journey, for every soul who has listened and walked alongside these words. May their mornings be filled with warmth. May their burdens be lifted. May their faith be renewed with every sunrise. May they find what they need exactly when they need it. May they feel less alone in their seeking, more courageous in their waiting, and more hopeful in their living. To every heart still searching, keep going. To every voice whispering prayers in the dark, keep speaking. To every soul weary with waiting, keep holding on. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are seen, loved, carried. Even now, light is breaking, and as the first rays of sunlight begin to stretch across the sky, as the cool breath of morning brushes against the face of the earth, may you feel the promise rising with the dawn. May you walk gently into this new day, guided not by fear, but by a steady and quiet trust. May the breeze remind you that grace moves where it will, and that you are already exactly where you need to be, for the light has found you, and the day has begun. Thank you for walking with me through every chapter. If this prayer has touched your spirit, I invite you to share your heart in the comments below. Let us grow stronger together. Subscribe to this channel, share this video with someone you love, and keep returning each morning, each breath to the faith that carries us forward again and again.